We are walking upon the bones of a civilization that knew secrets we have long forgotten. History claims we were primitive, yet the precision-cut granite of Pumapunku and the impossible geometry of the Nazca lines suggest a different story. Deep beneath the Giza Plateau, hidden chambers align perfectly with stars that didn't exist in our records, while the submerged structures of Yonaguni whisper of a world before the flood. Why do the same serpent symbols appear from the temples of Angkor Wat to the ruins of the Maya? Why are there maps of the Antarctic from centuries before it was discovered? We have ignored the evidence for too long. The relics of the past are not just stones, they are a countdown. The truth is buried in plain sight, waiting for the one who dares to look closer. If you ever travel along the southern coast of Turkey, don't be surprised to encounter sheer cliffs where houses appear. Yet these dwellings are not for the living. This is the city of the dead, where the rock-cut tombs of Myra reign suspended between sky and abyss, immortal imprints of a vanished civilization. More than just ancient works of art, these tombs are a maze of mysteries yet to be unraveled. Who created them? How were they made? And why choose such perilous heights to entrust the soul to eternity? Every block of stone at Myra preserves not only memories, but also poses questions that challenge both time and modern understanding. What do you think is the greatest mystery behind the rock-cut tombs of Myra? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Myra was once a prosperous city in ancient Lycia, located in what is now southern Turkey. But what immortalized Myra was not the palaces or temples in the valley, but the clusters of tombs carved directly into the vertical cliffs, as if the people here wanted to settle eternally between heaven and earth. Standing at the foot of the cliffs, anyone would be overwhelmed by the rows of rock tombs, closely packed, layer upon layer, stretching out like a strange maze across the cliff face. After thousands of years of wind and rain, many tombs still retain their embossed facades, stone columns, and triangular roofs resembling ancient Greek houses. Perhaps this is the only place in the world where the endurance of stone has so well preserved the memory of ancient souls. If there is one thing that sets the rock-cut tombs of Myra apart, it is the mysterious nature of their architecture and construction techniques. In an era when people relied on primitive tools made of iron, bronze, and even stone, creating hundreds of large and small tombs with such intricate details on a cliff face was almost miraculous. How could they possibly have accomplished such a feat? Even after decades of study by archaeologists and modern engineers, there is still no convincing answer to a host of mysteries. The tombs are often located at heights ranging from several meters to over 20 meters above the ground, while the limestone cliffs are steep, slippery, and extremely difficult to access. To carve out stone columns, vaulted facades, or delicate decorative details like floral patterns and reliefs, ancient craftsmen must have devised extremely sturdy scaffolding or used complex systems of ropes and pulleys. Yet to this day, no traces of such support structures have ever been found. The rock at Myra is quite hard, and iron or bronze tools from that era simply cannot compare to modern machinery. Nevertheless, many tomb facades still display very sharp details, balanced ornamentation, smooth stone surfaces, and hardly any large cracks. Did they perhaps use a special grinding chiseling or stone softening technique that is now completely lost to history? Not only that, but many tombs are arranged with remarkable symmetry, their facades modeled after houses with columns and supports in the Greco-Roman style, all following the golden ratio, producing a highly refined aesthetic. How could people in ancient times calibrate such precise proportions on sheer cliff faces under constantly changing natural light? And without the detailed blueprints we have today, it is estimated that there are hundreds of large and small tombs clustered along a stretch of the cliff, and the extraction and transport of materials, as well as organizing simultaneous construction with large numbers of workers in such hazardous terrain, would have demanded flawless coordination and deep knowledge of building materials, engineering dynamics, and even principles of occupational safety. Furthermore, some tombs include auxiliary tunnels, secret chambers, or hidden doors that only reveal themselves when light strikes at a certain angle, as if the tomb's owner wanted to conceal their secrets for all eternity. Many burial chambers are also inscribed with ancient Lycian script or strange symbols that to this day scientists have not been able to fully decipher. Many theories have been proposed to explain the mysterious construction techniques behind Myra's rock-cut tombs. Some researchers believe that the ancients might have used massive wooden scaffolding systems, gradually extending them higher and higher to reach the most treacherous spots on the cliffs. Yet no traces of wooden materials or anchor holes in the rock, like those found at similar structures elsewhere, have ever been discovered. Other more unconventional ideas suggest that the Lycians may have invented a special liquid capable of temporarily softening the stone, similar to legends told in South America, although so far no one has been able to prove this chemically. There are also intriguing theories about acoustic technology, proposing that ancient people might have used sound waves to vibrate and split the rock, but at present there is absolutely no archaeological evidence to support this idea. Local people even recount that according to the tales passed down from their ancestors, only those truly chosen by the gods would dare and have the talent to build tombs high up on the cliffs, as this was an extremely dangerous task, requiring extraordinary skills that not just anyone could possess. The tombs are not just places of rest, but also reflect the worldview and philosophy of life and death among the Lycians. Believing in immortality, they chose cliffside locations as close to the heavens as possible, so the soul would be carried away by the gods. Some tombs are adorned with carvings of boats, birds, and protective deities, like illustrations of the journey to the afterlife. The carved symbols and motifs remain a mystery to linguists. Some patterns are repeated on many tombs, yet their meaning is unknown. Perhaps they were codes of noble families, marking power or preserving secrets meant only for future generations, worthy of decoding. Many magnificent tombs do not clearly state the identity of their occupants. Some have inscriptions, but they are faded or not fully translated. Some believe these were built for kings or nobles. Others suggest certain tombs were reserved for heroes or significant contributors to the community. In reality, most of the rock tombs remain a mystery, and sometimes the remains within are no longer intact due to time, looting, or war. Beyond architectural beauty, Myra is a fertile ground for tales of lost treasure and wandering spirits on the cliffs. Some tombs have hidden doors or ancient traps meant to deter tomb robbers. Local people still tell of unsuccessful treasure hunts and those who mysteriously disappeared when trying to access the deepest chambers. There are legends of songs echoing at dusk, as if the souls of the mighty still guard this city of the dead, keeping the cliffside atmosphere always solemn, cold, and mysterious. By the 6th century, Myra gradually faded into oblivion due to war, natural disasters, and changes in religious belief. The stone tombs were abandoned, covered in green moss, and became castles of memory. But not until the 19th century, when Western archaeologists came to Myra, did the world truly recognize the immense value of this cluster of rock tombs. Despite decades of extensive research, the rock-cut tombs of Myra remain a living mystery. Every new archaeological discovery makes experts realize how little we know about the technology, knowledge, and ingenuity of the ancients. Today, Myra's rock tombs are not just a famous tourist destination, but also a tough puzzle for researchers. Technologies such as three-dimensional scanning, artificial intelligence, and geophysical sensors have somewhat helped reconstruct the construction process, but most of the important questions remain unanswered. How did the ancients measure and align shapes and layouts with such perfection? Why do some tombs have very complex anti-theft structures far beyond typical defensive architecture? Are there still secret chambers or hidden passages waiting to be discovered, holding the eternal secrets of Lycian civilization? The rock-cut tombs of Myra are like a mirror reflecting the boundless curiosity and creativity of humankind. In each stone block, still bearing marks of chiseling and grinding, lies the desire to conquer nature and the fervent belief in immortality. Perhaps their construction techniques were the culmination of many generations of silent masters whose names have been forgotten by history. But certainly, what remains will forever be an endless source of inspiration for archaeologists, engineers, artists, and all lovers of history. The mystery of Myra reminds us countless marvels still lie beneath the surface of the past, waiting to be unveiled. In the ancient lands of northern Israel, where the crumbling walls of the city of Tel Dan conceal countless secrets, an archaeological discovery in the 90s of the 20th century shocked scholars around the world. It was a shattered basalt stele named the Tel Dan Stele, an extremely important yet controversial piece in the history of the ancient Middle East. On the surface, it is simply a stone, engraved with ancient Aramaic script, but every line, every crack, holds unanswered questions about power, war, and even the existence of legendary figures from the Bible. What do you think about the unsolved mysteries surrounding the Tel Dan Stele? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Tel Dan Stele was discovered by chance in the years 1993 to 1994 among the ruins of Tel Dan, a city that once held strategic importance between the Kingdom of Israel and Aram Damascus. At that time, the archaeologists could not have known that they had unearthed one of the most important archaeological evidences of the House of David, the dynasty most mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, but lacking tangible evidence in the real world. This stele consists of 3 broken fragments engraved in ancient Aramaic script. Although it was destroyed and reused as building material, the remaining content ignited a research frenzy. Beat David, House of David, a small phrase that carries the weight of 1,000 pounds for history, archaeology, and religion alike. The inscriptions on the Tel Dan Stele appear to praise the victory of an Aramean king, most likely Hazael, the famous king of Aram Damascus, over the 2 kingdoms of Israel and Judah. In particular, the stele mentions victory over the House of David, a phrase that most scholars believe refers to the historical dynasty of King David. While the Bible recounts a great David builder of a mighty empire outside of the Tel Dan Stele, there is little direct archaeological evidence to prove his existence. Therefore, this inscription has become a pillar for those who support the historicity of biblical figures and at the same time the center of countless controversies. From the moment it was announced, the Tel Dan Stele has faced many opposing opinions. Some argue that Beit David does not necessarily refer to the figure of David and may have another meaning. The fragmented text, erased characters, or unclear arrangement only add to the mystery. Some conservative scholars even claim that this is a modern interpolation, while others believe it is the golden key that proves the history of the Bible. One of the most crucial and mysterious aspects surrounding the Tel Dan Stele lies in the question of its author and purpose. Most scholars believe that the figure behind the stele was King Hazael of Aram Damascus, a ruler who stirred up the ancient Near East in the 9th century BCE. The content of the stele describes victories over the kings of Israel and Judah, boldly proclaiming the overwhelming power of Aram in the region. However, the story is far from simple. The style of the Aramaic script matches the period of Hazael's reign. The location of Tel Dan itself was under Aramean control or influence during various periods, and the line stating "I killed the king of Israel, I defeated the house of David" aligns closely with historical records of Hazael's military campaigns. Yet one must ask, what truly motivated this king to erect such a triumphal monument in conquered territory? Was it merely an act of boasting? Or was there a deeper political motive hidden behind the stone, a message meant to resonate far beyond its time? Beyond the usual purpose of victory, steles to record achievements and display power and authority before subjects and enemies, the Tel Dan Stele carries with it many deeper layers of meaning. First of all, erecting such a monument right on conquered territory is not merely a declaration of victory, but also a heavy psychological blow to the local population. The explicit mention of the House of David serves not only to highlight a glorious triumph, but also to assert that even the most powerful dynasty could not withstand the might of Aram. Additionally, in the fierce political rivalry among the small nations of the Levant, the public claim of having defeated the House of David also serves to undermine the reputation of the opponent among neighboring states and demoralize adversaries. Some theories suggest that the stele even carries implications of divine favor, as it portrays the king of Aram as being blessed by the gods, powerful enough to defeat those believed to be chosen by the deity like David. Finally, it cannot be ruled out that this was also a diplomatic message to other allies or adversaries, implying that anyone who stands against Aram will meet the same fate as the House of David. The fact that the Tel Dan Stele was broken and buried underground for thousands of years remains one of its greatest unsolved mysteries. Many theories have been proposed to explain this strange fate. It's possible that after the city of Tel Dan was recaptured by the Israelites or Judahites, they deliberately destroyed the stele, which had become a symbol of humiliation and defeat, and reused the stone fragments for their own constructions. This was their way of erasing an unwanted historical memory. Another possibility is that when power shifted to a new dynasty, those in authority intentionally removed all traces related to the previous victory of their rivals in order to establish absolute power and reshape history as they wished. It's also possible that the stele was buried either accidentally or intentionally, so that the events and messages it bore would gradually fade into oblivion. Precisely because it remained hidden for so many centuries, the Tel Dan Stele became a black box, preserving the deepest secrets of history only truly rediscovered at the very end of the 20th century. Some scholars suggest that this stele was not written by King Hazael himself, but by a royal scribe or stonemason under his authority following royal orders. This raises the question, does the content on the stele reflect reality, or is it just propaganda embellished to glorify the victory? Are the figures' names and feats accurately recorded, or have they been exaggerated or altered to suit the political aims of the author? By mentioning the House of David, the stele's author, whether a king's scribe or anonymous stonemason, unwittingly sent a message that transcended their own era. It is this In history, nothing is eternal. Even the most glorious dynasties can be overthrown, and every victory can be forgotten or buried, just as the fate of this very stele. The mysteries surrounding the Tel Dan Stele do not end with the questions of its author or the purpose behind its creation. Instead, they open up a whole series of layered enigmas. First and foremost is the issue of authenticity. Does the phrase Beit David inscribed on the stele truly refer to the legendary King David? Or is it simply a place name, the name of a small clan, or even a symbolic term within its historical context? Furthermore, if this stele really does belong to King Hazael, then which specific historical event does the mention of killing the king of the House of David refer to? And does it connect in any way to the stories told in the Bible? Additionally, the fact that many fragments of the stele remain undiscovered adds yet another layer of mystery. If one day these missing parts are found, will they shed new light on the stele's true content, or will they simply fuel new rounds of academic debate with even more theories being proposed? The Tel Dan Stele, with all its mysteries surrounding its author and purpose, has become a black box, preserving the conflicts, propaganda, and ambitions of the ancient Levant. It reminds us that history is never a straight line, but always a web of intertwined events, where every line, every fragment is a link between reality legend and the thirst for power. The Tel Dan Stele is not just an ordinary victory monument, but also a message, a political and religious hallmark of an entire tumultuous era. Who was behind it? What message did they want to send to the present and the future? And will the secrets of the House of David and those unending wars continue to be unraveled? Each time a new fragment is found, history seems to awaken, reminding us nothing truly disappears. It is only waiting to be rediscovered. While Lascaux and Altamira are celebrated as humanity's earliest art galleries, Cosquer Cave is more like a submerged museum, a prehistoric artistic treasure trove revealed only to those daring enough to dive beneath the icy waters off the coast of Marseille, France. Yet the most captivating thing about Cosquer is not merely the art, it's the unresolved mysteries of the ancient humans, the creators who left their indelible marks on the stone before vanishing forever beneath the undercurrents of the Mediterranean. What do you think about the mysteries surrounding Cosquer Cave? In your opinion, what message did its ancient creators leave for us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Imagine to reach Cosquer Cave, you must swim through a tunnel submerged 37 meters below sea level. The entrance is like a doorway of death. Only the bravest, most skilled divers can withstand the cold darkness and ever-present risk of getting trapped or running out of air. This immediately raises a modern question. How did prehistoric people, without technology or scuba tanks, ever access this place? The answer: more than 20,000 years ago, when sea levels were hundreds of meters lower than today, Cosquer was a dry cave deep in the coastal cliffs. But after the last ice age, the rising sea devoured much of the space once inhabited by ancient people, here locking away their secrets in darkness and salt water. Cosquer the Cave is especially fascinating because of the traces of ancient humans still preserved on its walls. Archaeologists have discovered hundreds of animal drawings and mysterious symbols, but the most striking are the 48 black handprints, many of which are missing fingers. These handprints feel like direct messages sent from a distant past, prompting everyone to wonder, who left these marks? Who were they? Why did they intentionally, or perhaps were forced to depict missing fingers when pressing their hands against the rock? Many scientific theories have been proposed to explain this phenomenon. Some believe it was part of a religious ritual, where severed fingers symbolized sacrifice, vows, or coming-of-age ceremonies within the tribe. Others suggest that people may have suffered from frostbite or accidents during hunting or labor that caused their fingers to become necrotic and fall off. There's also the hypothesis that prehistoric artists intentionally created incomplete handprints to convey some secret message or to signify their unique position or special role within the community. However, none of these theories have been truly convincing so far. These handprints continue to challenge our imagination and modern knowledge, opening up endless possibilities about the spiritual life beliefs and even the physical suffering of our ancestors. Cosquer Cave, unlike most other prehistoric art caves which mainly focus on images of land animals, stands out for its paintings of marine creatures such as seals, whales, fish, and especially the ancient great auk, a flightless bird that once lived in the cold northern Atlantic. The presence of these drawings shows that the ancient people who once inhabited Cosquer were not just people of the land, but also dwellers of the sea, possessing deep knowledge of and a close connection to the coastal ecosystem. This raises many big questions for researchers. Why are there so many depictions of marine animals found only at Cosquer? Did a distinct community of prehistoric fishermen once exist here, with lifestyles and beliefs different from traditional hunting groups? Or was the depiction of sea creatures simply a way to pray for luck, safety, or livelihood, or to express strength and confidence when facing the dangers of the ocean? This unique artistic theme has made Cosquer Cave an especially valuable source, helping scientists gradually reconstruct a panoramic view of social life, living environments, and ancient migration patterns around the Mediterranean. One of the most fascinating mysteries surrounding Cosquer Cave is why our ancestors dared to venture deep into the rock, plunging themselves into absolute darkness to create paintings and leave their marks. Was this cave once a winter refuge, helping them escape the freezing cold and dangerous predators? Or was it a secret temple, a sacred place where rituals were performed and where handprints and drawings became talismans to protect the community from storms and the unpredictable dangers of the sea? Perhaps more simply, the cave served as a place for storytelling through images, a space to preserve and transmit knowledge, experiences, and memories of the entire tribe across generations. There were no written texts, nor any spoken language for us to decipher. All that remains are the stone walls imbued with manganese pigments, charcoal, and red ochre, each trace like a signature that is both individual and collective for prehistoric people. In this way, they remembered, recorded, and entrusted their souls to eternity, no matter that the ocean would one day swallow everything. It is estimated that as much as 80% of Cosquer Cave's area has been submerged by the sea. This means that most of what ancient humans once created, paintings, traces of daily life, and possibly even human remains, tool or ritual objects, has disappeared forever or been destroyed by salt water. Yet even the small portion that survives is enough to reveal important clues. The cultural diversity evident in the cave shows that its inhabitants belonged to two distinct cultures, the Gravettian and the Solutrean, separated by thousands of years. This suggests that Cosquer was a meeting point for many generations. At the same time, the cave tells a larger story about environmental change. Its ancient artists witnessed the rising of the sea and the transformation of their surroundings, forcing them to adapt or ultimately abandon what was once their paradise. This leads to the haunting question: what exactly drove them away? Was the sea rising too rapidly, their resources running out, or was there some other upheaval that modern science has yet to explain? Based on carbon dating results, the fossils discovered, and the artistic styles preserved on the cave walls, scientists are almost certain that the ancient inhabitants of Cosquer Cave were modern Homo sapiens, truly creative people who knew how to use tools, create art, and organize their communities in sophisticated ways. Their lives were closely intertwined with the coastal environment. They were not only traditional hunters and gatherers, but may also have been ancient fishermen, adept at fishing and collecting seafood, as clearly shown by the marine animal drawings and other remnants found in the cave. Beyond mere survival, these people also possessed a profound spiritual life, reflected in the missing finger handprints and mysterious motifs on the cave walls, evidence that suggests initiation rites, sacred worship of sea gods, or spiritual practices that modern science can only partially guess at. Today, every dive into Cosquer Cave is both a scientific expedition and a silent conversation with prehistoric people. Each drawing handprint and black mark on the wall is a profound question about human fate, belief, fear, and the immortal yearning of our species. Have we truly understood them, or only scratched the surface of the past? Are there even greater secrets hidden deeper where no modern human has yet reached? Will the rising sea someday erase all traces, making Cosquer a memory forever out of reach? Cosquer Cave is more than just an underwater prehistoric art museum. It is a symbol of the desire to live, to create, and to communicate among ancient people, individuals who walked into darkness, braved danger, and left their stories on the cave walls. And though thousands of years have passed, though the waves have erased so many layers of memory, the remaining hands marks and paintings are an eternal reminder of humanity's resilience, hope, and the endless quest for meaning from the distant past to today. Amid the windswept lands of the Shetland Islands, on grasslands deserted by time, stands an ancient monument that silently defies every explanation modern minds can offer. It is neither the stuff of legend, nor does it share the grandeur of more famous stone structures, yet the standing stones of Stanydale quietly persist, a giant question mark, suspended between past and present. Built in the Neolithic era, this monument is not only a testament to the strength and ingenuity of our ancestors, but also remains a riddle with no answer. What was its true purpose? Since its discovery, Stanydale has continually left researchers powerless before the shroud of mystery that cloaks its function and role. Each new excavation seems only to open more questions than it answers. What do you think was the true purpose of the standing stones of Stanydale? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Stanydale site sits isolated on the mainland island, where only the wind howls through wild grasslands and sheep roam freely. What strikes archaeologists isn't a familiar stone circle, but a large elliptical stone building with astonishingly thick walls. In this remote expanse, the silent standing stones seem to guard the central structure, as if trying to communicate something modern language cannot decode. Since its discovery in the late 19th century, Stanydale has puzzled scientists. Its size and structure surpass typical Neolithic dwellings in Shetland, stretching up to 16 meters in length, with sturdy stone walls and neatly paved floors. Notably, no trace of a roof has been found, nor any clear evidence of fireplaces or daily life as seen in other ancient villages. Could it be that this wasn't a house in the usual sense? From the early 20th century, archaeologists referred to this structure as the Stanydale Temple. Yet temple is merely a label chosen based on its large-scale, unusual architecture and remote location amidst wild nature. In reality, there is no archaeological evidence confirming that this place ever served as a site of worship or religious ritual like true temples in the Mediterranean or the Middle East. Many other theories have also been proposed. Some suggest it was a tribal assembly hall, where prehistoric people held large community ceremonies, meetings of elders, or perhaps even served as the seat of power for the entire Shetland community of that era. Other scholars question whether this building might have been a center for solar or astronomical rituals, since its special location and the standing stones around it could relate to the observation of natural phenomena like a stone calendar used to measure the cycles of the sun or moon. However, up to now, there is still no measured evidence confirming this hypothesis, nor have any carvings or uniquely aligned axes been discovered as at Stonehenge. Additionally, some hold the view that Stanydale was once a residence reserved for the elite or shamans, given its large size, elaborate construction, and exclusive position atop a highland. Yet the number of artifacts found is too small, and there are no clear signs of daily activity, making this theory also far from fully convincing. What makes the standing stones of Stanydale such a major enigma is the lack of clear physical evidence to confirm any theory. Excavations have yielded only a few shards of pottery, small stone tools, and some faint traces of ancient fires. There is no evidence of sacrifices, no burials, no stores of food, and no sign of large-scale craft production. Even the standing stones encircling the building don't form a perfect ring. Some are scattered, some seem to have toppled or been moved by time and humans. Some suggest these were gateposts leading into a sacred space, while others believe they are remnants of an even larger structure now destroyed. This all leads to a reality. The true function of Stanydale is almost a blank spot in archaeological history. Each researcher can draw their own story, but none can prove it. In the context of all Shetland and even Northern Europe, Stanydale remains unique. Famous stone circles like the Ring of Brodgar in Orkney or Callanish in the Outer Hebrides are circular with upright stones forming grand rings. Neolithic stone houses at Skara Brae Orkney or Jarlshof Shetland are small-roofed and clearly meant for habitation. Stanydale, with its elliptical shape, massive scale, ultra-thick walls, lack of roof, and scattered standing stones, has almost no true siblings for comparison. Some even suggest it reflects influence from southern cultures or is a local variation found only here. Was this once a hub for trade or cultural exchange between islands, or a focal point for a short-lived, now vanished faith? The answer still lies hidden beneath moss and cold stones. One more element heightens Stanydale's allure: its supremely isolated location. The site lies among gently rolling hills, far from modern settlements and other Neolithic sites. Researchers have realized that moving such massive stones here and building on this scale required organization, motivation, and a purpose beyond normal domestic needs. Why did they choose this desolate spot rather than somewhere near water farmland or trade routes? Was it this very isolation that created a sacred space apart from the world for special rituals or activities reserved for a select few? Modern research also suggests the site's location might relate to ancient trackways or natural events such as sunlight on special days of the year. Yet no astronomical discoveries as remarkable as those at Stonehenge have been made, keeping this theory tentative. All arguments, debates, excavations, and research converge on one thing: the true function of the standing stones of Stanydale remains a complete mystery. If we suppose it was a temple, why is there not a single piece of evidence for rituals, idols, or religious symbols ever existing there? If it was a community assembly hall, why did ancient people build such a grand and solid structure merely for gatherings in such a remote area? Could it be that this community was once much larger and more developed than we imagine? In the case that it served as the residence of local leaders, why is there a total absence of daily life traces. No hearths, no food storage, nor any accompanying personal belongings. And if Stanydale was intended as an astronomical observatory, where are the specific connections to natural phenomena? Light or time cycles, as seen at other famous ancient sites, the most remarkable thing about Stanydale is truly the silence of its artifacts, as if those who once lived, built, and used this place intentionally erased every trace, or perhaps the monument itself was designed to remain an everlasting enigma for posterity. In our modern era, even with the remarkable advances of archaeological science, Stanydale remains an unsolved mystery, a reminder that not all secrets of the past are easily uncovered. It is precisely the puzzling purpose of this monument that has become an endless source of fascination for scientists, archaeologists, and explorers alike. One cannot help but wonder, on this cold, desolate land, what did our ancestors once do within these silent stone walls? Was this a sacred place for communing with supernatural forces, or simply a testament to the creativity and enduring spirit of a mysterious civilization? The standing stones of Stanydale symbolizes human humility before the past. Of all the questions about its true function, perhaps the most important is not finding a final answer, but appreciating the value of the journey to discovery, where every hypothesis, excavation, and visit is a small step on the road to unraveling humanity's story. Deep beneath the soil of North Wales, a radiant golden cloak lay undisturbed for millennia, holding secrets far beyond the understanding of our modern age. When it was unexpectedly unearthed in 1833, no one could have foreseen that this would become one of the artifacts to leave the entire archaeological world in awe. From its solid gold material and unparalleled craftsmanship to lingering questions about its true owner and purpose, the mold gold cape stands as a golden cipher, challenging every explanation humanity can offer about the technical prowess and ancient civilizations that once thrived on the British Isles. What do you think is the greatest mystery about the mold gold cape? Share your thoughts in the comments below. First, one cannot help but be overwhelmed by the choice of material. The entire cape was crafted from a single sheet of pure gold, so thin as to be unbelievable, yet still retaining remarkable strength and a certain flexibility. In the period from 1600 to 1900 years before the Common Era gold in Europe was an extremely rare and luxurious substance considered sacred, powerful, and associated with the gods, kings, or high priests. The miraculous aspect here is that ancient people managed to source high-quality gold, refining it into a large sheet without alloying it with other metals, a feat that would seem possible only with modern technology. The very act of refining gold to such purity and creating an unbroken gold sheet nearly half a meter wide is itself a phenomenal achievement. Gold is inherently soft, prone to deformation and tearing if not handled with great care during forging. Yet the mold gold cape seems to defy these physical laws. The layer of gold is embossed with astonishing sharpness, showing no signs of cracking or splitting at bends, even after thousands of years buried underground. This demonstrates that the techniques for embossing, stretching, rolling, and annealing gold in ancient times must have reached a level that even today's science must admire. Analysis shows the gold content is nearly 90 to 95%, with a little copper and silver added for hardness. This perfect alloy ratio is the secret that allowed the cape to be both ultra-thin and strong. Not merely a flat sheet of gold, the mold gold cape is truly a work of art, adorned with exquisitely embossed three-dimensional patterns demanding exceptional craftsmanship, specialized tools, and a complex production process. Across its surface, rows of circular dots, parallel grooves, stacked triangles, and recessed lines are arranged with a uniformity, depth, and clarity so precise that one would think it was machine-made. It was found that there are over 2,000 small dotted patterns, all handcrafted. Just a minor error would ruin or tear the whole structure. Especially noteworthy, the embossed details and ridges were created using the repoussé technique, raising patterns from the back, combined with chasing refining details from the front, a highly sophisticated process requiring extremely delicate control of force. The goldsmith had to use fine, sturdy, but not overly sharp tools to avoid piercing the thin gold. Just one overly forceful strike would rip the entire sheet. Miraculously, the patterns are all even prominent and show no major repairs. A major question arises: what kinds of hammers, punches, molds, and techniques did ancient people use to create these raised designs, ensuring uniformity without tearing or breaking the gold? To this day, experts attempting to reconstruct the process still face many failures. Very few replicas achieve the same thinness, strength, and pattern quality as the original. Some suggest these craftsmen must have possessed family secrets, custom-made tools, and perhaps even unknown heat-treating or gold-softening techniques never recorded in history. What leaves researchers in awe is the geometric design of the cloak. The cape is shaped to hug the shoulders, chest, and upper back tightly, with two sides fitting snugly, lacking sleeves, a front panel, or a trailing back like modern cloaks. This design was not only intended for ritual purposes, but also optimized to display power. The radiant gold would catch the light and stand out among the crowd during special occasions. To create a single-piece cape with precise curves and folds, the craftsman had to calculate every angle and fold with extraordinary care. Otherwise, even a tiny miscalculation would ruin the entire sheet. The joints, tie holes, and edges were all finished with great finesse. The ancients even drilled small, evenly spaced holes along the edge of the cape to thread leather cords or other organic materials to secure the cloak on the wearer's shoulders, all without tearing the gold. Moreover, the cape was not intended for daily wear. If donned, the wearer could not raise their arms above the shoulder, nor work or fight. This deepens the mystery. Could this have been reserved for ceremonies, displays of power, or perhaps as a sacred armor for the king's priests or most powerful female leaders of the community? The story of the mold gold cape's discovery is also tinged with legend. In the year 1833, a group of workers digging a large mound for building materials accidentally exposed thin, rolled-up gold fragments alongside human bones, pottery, and grave goods. Not realizing their value, some fragments were cut up and sold to local goldsmiths. The remainder was fortunately collected by archaeologists and museums. It took decades thanks to early sketches, photographs, and the dedication of experts for most fragments to be pieced together to their original shape, nearly intact with all patterns still visible. Even so, the gold's origin, the secrets of its metallurgy, and especially the cape's exact purpose remain unanswered questions. Many theories have been proposed. The gold could have come from local mines or distant trade. Perhaps this was a symbol of an isolated civilization that once flourished in the British Isles, but vanished. It's also possible the cape's owner belonged to a noble lineage, led a religious system, or conducted solar rituals embodying the imagery of light power and immortality. The mold gold cape is more than just an artifact. It is the ultimate symbol of power, wealth, and technological achievement of prehistoric society. In many cultures, gold is associated with deities, the sun, and eternal life. Whoever owned this cape, male or female, surely stood at the pinnacle of power, perhaps as an intermediary with the gods, or as an embodiment of light and the harvest. The radiant gold of the cape would dazzle during ceremonies, attracting and dominating all eyes. A single cloak reflects the stature of an entire culture, where artistry, technology, power, and spiritual faith blended, leaving a mark unmatched in human history. Today, the mold gold cape is proudly displayed in the British Museum, an unmissable destination for lovers of archaeology, history, and the goldsmith's art. Not only is it a source of pride for Wales, but also a reminder to humanity of our ancestors' astonishing creativity. Though science has solved many ancient mysteries, the mold gold cape still stands as a golden riddle, challenging generations, where every line, every dot on its surface holds secrets of technology, spirituality, and the pursuit of perfection by prehistoric people. Looking to the future, the mysteries surrounding the mold gold cape remain as a challenge for anyone fascinated by ancient history. Somewhere in this world, could there be technological secrets and masterful techniques that have been lost forever, never to be rediscovered? Who was truly the bearer of light? Who once wore this legendary golden cloak? And how have their power and story been etched into the memory of humanity? And deep within the land of England, how many more timeless treasures still lie silently hidden, waiting for the day they are unearthed to continue telling the mysterious chapters of a once glorious civilization, now faded into the shadows of history? The mold gold cape is not just an archaeological object, but an immortal witness to the talent, intellect, and limitless creative spirit of ancient people. Its golden material and timeless craftsmanship have made it a captivating enigma, challenging generations of scientists, artisans, and all who are entranced by stories of light power and unsolved mysteries. Not the pyramids of Egypt, nor the magnificent ruins of Rome in the wild heart of Sardinia, rises an ancient world of stone, both unfamiliar and challenging to every definition: Nuraghe of Barumini. This structure not only astonishes archaeologists, but also stirs profound questions about the origins, purpose, and true intelligence of the prehistoric people who once inhabited this island. After 3,000 years, every stone here remains silent, leaving behind only unanswered questions: who built them, why, and what caused an entire civilization to vanish, leaving only these stone walls as endless riddles for future generations. What do you think was the true purpose of Nuraghe? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Built between the 17th and 13th centuries, BCE Nuraghe is the most complete example of the Nuraghe type of architecture: truncated conical stone towers made from basalt blocks weighing several tons and constructed without any mortar. At the center stands the main tower, nearly 19 meters high, surrounded by 4 subsidiary towers and interconnected defensive walls, forming a massive stone fortress. Beyond a large village with more than 50 houses, wells, communal courtyards, paths, and water channels, all built from tightly fitted stone, encloses the complex in a defensive layout unprecedented in the Bronze Age. So why did prehistoric Sardinians build Nuraghe? This question has divided archaeologists and historians for centuries. Let's follow the hypotheses that have been and are still being proposed and see why none have yet offered a truly satisfactory answer. To many scholars, the thick walls, small openings, possibly for observation or shooting arrows, and the strategic position on a defensible plain reinforce the idea of a military fortress. It could have been the residence of a chieftain, and warriors, a stronghold against attacks from rival tribes or Mediterranean pirates. Yet if it was only for military use, why was there a need for such a dense network of thousands of Nuraghe all over Sardinia, sometimes only a few kilometers apart? And why do we find within Nuraghe ritual spaces, underground wells, and a labyrinth of interconnected small rooms instead of just simple fortification design? Many archaeological remains, such as stone altars, decorated pottery, and small figurines of humans and animals, show that Nuraghe was not only for military purposes. Some rooms are specially designed with doors oriented to sunrise points or prominent astronomical events, which leads to the theory that this was a ritual center or astronomical observatory. Perhaps Nuraghe was the site of sacrificial rites festivals, honoring water, the sun, fertility, crucial forces for the island's early agricultural society. But if so, why was it built with a solidity far beyond usual religious needs? And were these rituals tied to a special priestly or royal class that controlled not only spirituality, but also societal power? With large wells and sophisticated water channels inside and around the complex, many researchers believe Nuraghe was a center for resource coordination, especially water, a vital element, in a land often plagued by drought. The layered architecture and houses clustered around the central area suggest a complex social structure where power and resource distribution were tightly controlled. Was this a place for assemblies, collection and redistribution of produce, organizing economic and political activities for an entire community? Still, physical evidence is not clear enough to confirm this, as residential ritual and defensive functions are intertwined in every corner of the structure. The greatest mystery may be why only on Sardinia are there more than 7,000 Nuraghe scattered across mountains, plains, and valleys, forming a network that seems arranged according to logic for defense communication or perhaps a spread of power symbols. Some scholars imagine Nuraghe, like Nuraghe, as nodes connecting groups, places to send signals, warn of danger, communicate over long distances with smoke fire or coordinated rituals. Yet no one has conclusively proven this in practice. Could this have been a primitive internet-linking tribal communities, sharing news and organizing alliances in the turbulent times of the Mediterranean? Strangely, despite leaving behind thousands of massive stone structures, the Nuraghic civilization left virtually no language writing or clear symbols other than geometric motifs and decorations on pottery and stone. All their knowledge, beliefs, history, and legends were buried with the stone walls. There is no written record describing their construction's purpose, their gods, or even the names of those who built Nuraghe. This makes the structure even more of a silent riddle, one that science can only speculate about based on the physical remains. Another great mystery is their construction techniques. Basalt blocks weighing tons, sometimes as long as 3 meters, were transported from afar and stacked without mortar, yet have stood for 3,000 years, resisting earthquakes, weather wars, and the ravages of time. How did prehistoric people with primitive tools create such a complex and durable living fortress? Did they possess construction secrets, labor organization skills, or spiritual motivation, far beyond what later generations could imagine? From the 6th century BCE, the Nuraghic civilization faded from history, replaced by waves of Phoenician, Carthaginian, and Roman settlers. Nuraghe, like thousands of other Nuraghe, became ruins sometimes used as shelters, animal pens, even boundary markers. Sardinian folklore still tells vague legends about giants building stone towers, buried treasures, or spirits guarding the walls, but no one remembers their origins or purpose. In 1997, UNESCO recognized Nuraghe of Barumini as a World Heritage Site, praising it as an exceptional testimony to a unique and unmistakable prehistoric culture. Today, the site continues to attract thousands of archaeologists, historians, and architects, each bringing a theory, a dream, to uncover the truth about a lost world. Some believe Nuraghe is the ultimate symbol of the interplay between power, spirituality, intellect, and the social organizational artistry of the Nuragic people. Others argue the entire Nuraghe network was the greatest defensive superstructure of prehistoric Europe. Still others favor a spiritual theory, imagining this was a center for communion with the gods, or even a node linking mysterious civilizations beyond the Mediterranean. Whatever the view, each stone in Nuraghe keeps its secret about its true function, a question that challenges future generations to keep searching and decoding. Perhaps it is this unresolved mystery of Nuraghe that eternally captivates modern humanity. Every step through the ancient stone gates, every touch of the millennia-old walls, echoes the same questions: who built this? For what? Who were they? And why did they choose to tell their story in stone, not in words or script? And perhaps the true answer will only come when later generations are ready to accept that some mysteries belong to the deepest nature of human history, where every monumental work is not only a physical trace, but also an intellectual challenge, a perpetual invitation from the past to keep exploring. Nestled within the ancient churchyard of Luss, a picturesque village by the legendary Loch Lomond in Scotland, lies a stone monument that silently guards its secrets, the Viking hogback stone of Luss. Weathered by centuries of rain and wind, this enigmatic artifact is more than just a tombstone. It is a cryptic witness to a forgotten chapter of Scottish history, echoing the clash and blend of Viking and Celtic worlds over 1,000 years ago. From a distance, the hogback stone resembles the roof of a house, its back gently arched, flanked by slightly upturned ends. This is no coincidence. The form was deliberately chosen by its ancient creators, echoing the sturdy longhouses of the Norsemen, the homes for the dead, symbolizing shelter and protection for the departed soul on their final journey. But what truly sets the Luss hogback apart is not just its rare craftsmanship, but the unsolved riddle: who was laid to rest beneath this stone. Unlike other medieval tombs, the Luss hogback bears no inscription, no runes, no chiseled name or date. It stands mute, its purpose and dedicated lost to time. For generations, villagers and visitors have gazed upon its weathered flanks and asked the same question: whose grave does it mark? A forgotten Viking chieftain, a Celtic noble, or someone whose story has never been written down? Some scholars believe the stone was commissioned for a powerful Viking leader, perhaps one who ruled over the Loch Lomond area during the late 10th or early 11th centuries. At that time, the Norse had already carved deep inroads into the British Isles. Their longships sailed up Scottish rivers, their warriors raided, settled, and sometimes married into local Celtic clans. Luss itself, though, now a peaceful hamlet, may once have been the stronghold of such a Norse warlord. This theory finds support in the very style of the stone. Hogback stones are unique to the era and region of Viking colonization in Britain. Their presence marks places where Norse influence mingled with local customs. a testament to cultural fusion in stone. The dragon-like beasts carved along its sides, the interwoven knotwork, and the roof-like arch all point to Scandinavian beliefs about death and the afterlife. Yet there are those who question this narrative. The absence of runic inscriptions, so common on genuine Norse memorials, is puzzling. Some propose that the stone was erected for a prominent local chieftain who had converted to Christianity, seeking to blend both old and new faiths in his burial. The Christianization of Scotland during this period was messy and incomplete. Syncretic customs were common, and the hogback stones may reflect this hybrid spirituality. Why would the name be missing? Was it ever their loss to centuries of erosion, or was anonymity intentional, perhaps reflecting a taboo, a legendary crime, or the burial of an outsider whose memory was to be both honored and erased? In medieval times, graves were often left unmarked if the deceased was controversial, excommunicated, or involved in violent upheaval. Alternatively, the identity of the person beneath the Lus hogback may have been so well known to locals at the time that any inscription was deemed unnecessary. Oral tradition, not stone, preserved their story, a tradition that faded as generations passed. Is this the resting place of a once feared Viking warlord, his body laid to rest far from his Scandinavian homeland, now claimed by Scottish soil? Or is it the grave of a local ruler whose conversion to Christianity marked a seismic shift in the spiritual landscape of the region? Some legends hint that the stone covers the remains of a chieftain who brokered peace between Vikings and Celts, a rare bridge builder in a world of violence. Others whisper of a Viking woman of noble birth, her saga lost, but her memory immortalized in the stone. With no definitive record, the truth remains tantalizingly out of reach. Over the centuries, local folklore has painted the stone with supernatural hues. Some villagers once believed that on stormy nights, the spirit of the Viking buried beneath would rise to wander the lochside forever, seeking his homeland. Others saw the hogback as a ward protecting the village from evil, its carved beasts keeping both physical and spiritual threats at bay. Examining the surface of the Lus hogback, one finds a tapestry of intricate carvings, fish scale patterns, interlacing vines, and what appear to be stylized dragons or serpents. These motifs are not decorative flourishes, but messages encoded in stone. In Norse cosmology, dragons and serpents are guardians of thresholds, fitting symbols for a tomb. The fish scale pattern, sometimes interpreted as roof shingles, also hints at a dual meaning: the stone as both a house for the dead and a boat for their voyage to the afterlife. In both Viking and Celtic belief, water was a boundary between worlds, and Loch Lomond's misty expanse would have held deep spiritual resonance. Yet some carvings defy simple explanation. Their meanings may be lost forever. Or perhaps, like so much about the stone, they are invitations to speculation, whispers from the past, inviting modern eyes to guess, to wonder, to imagine. The Lus hogback is not alone. Across northern England and southern Scotland, dozens of such stones mark the landscape, but each is unique. The Lus stone stands out for its exceptional preservation, elaborate design, and the sheer mystery of its origins. Archaeologists view the hogback phenomenon as proof of intense cultural blending. Vikings brought their burial customs, but quickly adopted elements of local style. Some stones even incorporate early Christian symbols, suggesting a gradual and uneasy merger of pagan and Christian ideas. The Lus hogback, with its ambiguous iconography, sits at the crossroads of these worlds. Despite occasional archaeological surveys, the ground beneath the Lus hogback has not been fully excavated in modern times. Is there still a skeleton beneath? Or have the centuries erased all trace of the body? Might there be grave goods, weapons, or ornaments waiting to be discovered? Artifacts that could finally resolve the question of identity. Modern technology, ground-penetrating radar DNA analysis, and 3D imaging has yet to be comprehensively applied. Perhaps one day, science will unlock the secrets that the stone keeps so jealously. Until then, every visitor to Lus is left to contemplate the ancient monument and wonder at its purpose. Today, the Viking hogback stone of Lus draws historians, artists, and dreamers alike. It stands as a monument not just to one person, but to an era of uncertainty and transformation. Its mysterious anonymity is perhaps its greatest power. A story untold, a riddle unsolved, a testament to the layered, often hidden histories that shaped Scotland. For the people of Lus, the stone is both a relic and a guardian, its presence a silent link to ancestors both known and unknown. Its story is a warning too about the fragility of memory. Even the grandest of memorials can outlast the names they were meant to honor. Who lies beneath the Viking hogback stone of Lus? A forgotten warlord, a peacemaker, a saint, a sinner, or perhaps someone who was all of these at once. The truth remains hidden, an echo from the mists of time. Yet in that very mystery lies the stone's enduring fascination. There are mysteries that time buries deep underground, waiting for the day when modern humans grow curious enough to unlock the past. Hidden beneath the wind-swept ruins of ancient Dara, a frontier once shaken by wars between empires, lies a labyrinth of vast underground cisterns that continue to astonish archaeologists. Dara cisterns are not merely relics of a civilization long asleep. They stand as one of the greatest challenges to the technical understanding of the 21st century. How did ancient people, with only primitive tools, manage to construct an entire city beneath the earth that has endured for millennia, equipped with waterproofing water channels and vaulted ceilings that still baffle modern science? The answer, or more accurately, the unanswered questions, turn Dara cisterns into one of history's most enigmatic subterranean legacies, where ancient ingenuity and lost technologies continue to challenge humanity today. What do you think was the biggest secret behind the construction of the Dara cisterns? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Upon setting foot at the Dara archaeological site today, most visitors only see surface remains, ruined walls, narrow entryways, and endless dark chambers. Yet beneath this calm exterior sprawls a colossal system of underground water chambers, boasting immense capacity, massive stone columns, and soaring vaulted ceilings, forming an underground world as grand as any great hall above ground. Some have said entering Dara cisterns feels like stepping into an underground kingdom where time and space seem to spiral away. This system consists of numerous interconnected water chambers, some descending as deep as 10 meters beneath the earth, stretching dozens of meters in length, with masterfully constructed vaults supported by rows of squared stone columns. Each chamber can hold thousands of cubic meters of water, and the entire network could sustain the city of Dara for many months, even in times of war or prolonged drought above. The truly astonishing aspect of the Dara cisterns lies in their advanced construction technology, which has left archaeologists, architects, and modern engineers puzzled. How could people more than a millennium ago build such a solid, complex, and enduring structure with only primitive tools and a complete absence of modern machinery? The massive stones used to construct this underground system were not only enormous in size, but were also crafted with extraordinary precision. Their joints fit together so perfectly that many researchers believe the ancient builders' techniques for cutting, transporting, and assembling stone far exceeded the common standards of their time. There are stone blocks weighing several tons that were transported deep underground without leaving clear traces of hoists, pulleys, or cranes. Moving these stones through narrow passageways and then stacking them into sturdy columns and load-bearing arches remains a technical puzzle that has yet to be solved. Even more impressive are the soaring stone vaults, intricately linked by rows of parallel columns, creating a structure of almost unbelievable strength. The entire complex was designed so that every force pressing down from above would be evenly distributed through the columns and arches, preventing the cisterns from collapsing even when water levels rose or during minor earthquakes. This demonstrates that the builders of Dara possessed profound knowledge of physics, mathematics, and geometry skills that were far ahead of those found in most other regions of the era. Furthermore, the walls, floors, and ceilings of the cisterns were coated with special waterproof materials, preventing leakage and protecting the water from contamination by surrounding earth and stone. Layers of mortar clay or other secret compounds were used to seal every gap, ensuring that the groundwater supply remained clean and did not seep back into the earth. Beyond this, Dara cisterns were not simply large waterholes. They were, in fact, a highly integrated hydraulic engineering system, with water pipes cleverly concealed beneath the floors or within the walls, connecting to underground streams and aquifers nearby. Once led into the cisterns, the water would continue to pass through natural filtration layers before being used, minimizing any risk of pollution. Drainage outlets were also strategically placed at various heights to control water levels effectively and prevent overflow or depletion. When the cisterns were full, certain channels would automatically open to release excess water or redirect it to adjacent storage tanks. The entire system operated almost autonomously, relying on differences in pressure and elevation with no need for complex machinery. No one would expect such a vast, damp underground network to maintain fresh air. Yet Dara cisterns were equipped with sophisticated breathing pipes and ventilation shafts, ensuring constant air circulation, preventing mold, and maintaining stable water temperatures. What's more, the builders of Dara not only planned for immediate needs, but also for the future. Small tunnels led into the cisterns with narrow passages, allowing inspection, maintenance, and repair without disrupting the system's use. Some chambers were even equipped with movable partitions, which could be closed to drain the water for inspection or to transfer water to backup tanks when major maintenance was required. The greatest mystery of all is that to this day, there is no clear evidence of what kinds of tools the ancient Dara people used to drill, cut, transport stone, and construct such sturdy underground vaults. Some theories suggest that they possessed unique techniques or tools that have now been lost to history, or perhaps they inherited this knowledge from even older civilizations. Many modern researchers have resorted to three-dimensional scanning and ground-penetrating radar to try to reconstruct the construction process, but so far, all attempts have failed to fully explain the technical steps and crucial details behind the creation of the Dara cisterns wonder. The greatest question that baffles all scientists who study Dara cisterns, who designed this structure, was it local knowledge developed by the people of Dara, or was it learned from another mysterious civilization in ancient Mesopotamia, or perhaps heavily influenced by Roman or Byzantine architects? There are signs of blending. Some vault styles resemble ancient Roman architecture. The water systems are more Eastern in nature, but the layout of chambers and conduits is uniquely distinct, unseen anywhere else. Most of the inscriptions and symbols on the walls remain undeciphered, as if seeking to convey skills and knowledge lost to later generations. Throughout its history, Dara was a vital frontier outpost on the Byzantine-Sassanid border, often besieged and cut off from supplies. The Dara cisterns enabled the city to endure, resisting prolonged sieges, and proved the power of timeless engineering. Even after the city fell, the Dara cisterns remained unbroken, a testament to their almost uncanny durability. To this day, many local legends speak of underground tunnels stretching far beneath the earth, hiding treasures or weapons or serving as the stage for ancient religious rites. Some believe that Dara cisterns are merely the tip of the iceberg, with most of the network still unexplored, concealing multiple levels and functions beyond the reach of modern science. Dara cisterns are not just archaeological relics, they are a handbook of survival technology from our ancestors, teaching us about resource management, sustainable design, and harnessing nature without destroying the ecosystem. The secrets of construction, water conservation, collapse resistance, and waterproofing, if fully deciphered, could inspire modern engineering, especially as the world faces climate change and water scarcity. Beneath the ancient city of Dara lie layers of history, culture, and engineering, where East and West, past and present converge. Dara cisterns are not only an engineering marvel for the ages, but also a shining example of human creativity, resilience, and adaptability. The mysteries surrounding their construction, the undeciphered details, and the strange artifacts left behind will continue to fuel the imagination, urging future generations to explore. The secret of the Dara cisterns may never be fully unraveled, but this only enhances their place as an eternal symbol of human ingenuity, an inexhaustible source of inspiration for anyone passionate about history, architecture, and ancient technology. Located on the barren plains of southeastern Turkey, near the Syrian border, the ancient city of Harran stands out with its architecture that intrigues anyone who lays eyes on it. Dome-shaped conical houses clustered closely together, which locals call beehive houses. From afar, the entire village looks like a surreal painting, hundreds of yellow-gray domes rising from the parched red earth, with no flat roofs and no large windows, just conical forms, seamlessly connected by winding little alleyways, resembling a maze from a fairy tale. These domes are not merely an architectural flourish, they are intimately tied to the history, culture, and mysteries of Harran, a land that was once the greatest center of scholarship and astronomy in ancient Mesopotamia. Why do you think the beehive houses flourished mainly in Harran and didn't spread to other desert regions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The beehive houses of Harran symbolize perfect adaptation to the arid and dusty environment of the Middle East. Each house is constructed entirely from sun-dried mud brick, a traditional eco-friendly material produced on-site and mixed with straw for better cohesion and insulation. Particularly the conical domes, ranging from 4 to 7 meters in height, enable natural heat dissipation during the day. Heat barely penetrates the interior. At night, the air inside remains warm, preventing dangerous temperature fluctuations. Thanks to walls that are 50 to 70 centimeters thick, these houses require no air conditioning or electric fans, yet stay cool in summer and warm in winter. A miracle, considering that outside temperatures can reach 45 degrees Celsius. Unlike modern buildings, which require steel frameworks or industrial materials, the Harran beehive houses rely solely on the technique of stacking circular bricks gradually upward, narrowing the diameter with each layer without using wooden beams or flat ceilings. The conical shape distributes pressure evenly, preventing collapse during strong winds, sandstorms, or rare heavy rains. Rainwater, though scarce, but sometimes intense, slides off the sloped roofs, preventing leakage or water accumulation, a problem that caused many other ancient structures to vanish from the desert after exceptional storms. When asked, most Harran villagers reply, "My father's father built this, and his father lived here too." Yet no one can pinpoint when the first beehive house appeared. Archaeological documents indicate that the current Harran beehive houses are at least 200 to 300 years old, but some sources speculate that the technique might date back to the Assyrian period or even Roman times, more than 2,000 years ago. Since Harran was once a major hub in antiquity, known as the City of the Moon, with temples to the god Sin, and a trade artery linking Mesopotamia with the Levant, it's plausible that this building method emerged during those glorious days and was continuously refined over generations. What's remarkable is that over the centuries, perhaps even millennia, beehive architecture not only survived, but developed into tightly connected complexes, hundreds of adjoining houses, forming a community cluster, an entire village or neighborhood with interconnected alleys where no one gets lost because everyone belongs to this beehive. One of the most fascinating mysteries surrounding the Harran beehive structures is the question of their origin and limited spread. Why did this style of beehive house emerge in such dense numbers and persist so long in Harran and a handful of rare locations in the Middle East, instead of becoming widespread across other regions with similarly harsh desert climates? Historians and archaeologists have yet to find any ancient documentation about the birth of this architecture in Harran. Most knowledge was simply handed down orally through generations of practical building and daily life. Some believe that the beehive houses originated from the conical tents of ancient Mesopotamian nomads, later fixed in place and made permanent with mud brick, while others link them to conical tombs, ancient temples, or dome-shaped megalithic structures found in Mesopotamia and even ancient Egypt. But why didn't this architectural form spread to other places where climate adaptation is just as vital? In North Africa, Egypt, Iran, and the Arabian Peninsula, dome-shaped or hemispherical houses exist, yet nowhere else is there a village of hundreds of houses clustered together, uniform in shape, materials, and construction methods, as in Harran. Some anthropologists suggest that the communities around Harran were semi-nomadic, flexible enough to adapt, yet cohesive enough to develop a shared architectural tradition, whereas in other regions, communities were either fully nomadic, relying on tents, or quickly urbanized, building Western or Ottoman-style houses. This raises the bigger question: are these houses the secret legacy of an ancient civilization now lost to time? Some scholars even suggest that the Harran beehive houses are living relics of prehistoric construction technology, perhaps linked to lunar temples, ancient centers of learning, or communities who once possessed mysterious knowledge of materials and aerodynamics. A few more radical theories propose that this architecture is related to secret religious traditions or astronomical rituals, since Harran was once a major center for astronomy, or perhaps simply an incredibly intelligent local invention preserved because of its undeniable efficiency. The spread of this technique seems to have been limited. Although the method of building beehive houses was tried in some neighboring regions of Syria, Iraq, and Iran, it quickly faded or was replaced by stone architecture, flat-roofed brick houses, or large fabric tents. Only in Harran, thanks to the environment, community tradition, and perhaps a sense of local pride, do the beehive houses persist standing as symbols of resilience through time. There is also no detailed ancient technical documentation. When researchers survey old villages, they usually only record oral traditions. There are no blueprints, no official manuals. Local builders learned by observation and hands-on experience from a young age. Even factors like dimensions, roof angles, or wall thickness are felt through experience, not precisely measured. Yet the structures have stood for centuries, surviving the tests of time and weather. Some wonder if the ancients intentionally kept the secrets of this construction, or viewed it as a precious ancestral art not to be written down. Many local legends say that the beehive building technique was a family secret, passed only to descendants and never committed to paper. This not only explains the endurance of these structures, but also shrouds their true origins in an enduring aura of mystery. Besides their practical value, the Harran beehive houses also embody a deep sense of spirituality and community. These domed structures are not just shelters, they form a social complex that connects families together like one big clan. Inside, they are usually simple and clean, symbolizing purity, and serve as the setting for many traditional rituals, from communal gatherings to weddings and private prayers. Many scholars even see the conical shape as a symbol of the connection between earth and sky, between humans and the divine, a kind of cosmic bridge rooted in Mesopotamian culture. Although there is no concrete evidence, many visitors still feel a special energy and a sense of safety and connection when stepping into these ancient spaces. There remain several enduring mysteries surrounding the Harran beehive structures that continue to puzzle researchers and enthusiasts alike. Why didn't other communities replicate this highly effective architectural model despite its clear advantages in harsh desert environments? Could these houses be remnants of a lost technology or body of knowledge now preserved only by chance? In Harran, it is astonishing to consider how ancient builders managed to construct hundreds of domed roofs without modern measuring tools or technical drawings. Are there hidden secrets embedded in their proportions, orientation, or window placement, perhaps connected to astronomy, geomancy, or religious practices that we have yet to uncover? And finally, might there be even older archaeological remains lying beneath these villages, linking them to the deeper prehistory of the great Mesopotamian region? Today, the beehive domes of Harran still stand resilient in the desert, serving as living proof of ancient human creativity and adaptability. More than just shelters, each dome contains mysteries of history, culture, and tradition. In this era of modernization, Harran's beehive architecture remains a lasting symbol of community and a true challenge for anyone eager to uncover its real origins. It can be said that each beehive house in Harran is a living record of human history, of unresolved mysteries, and of the enduring belief that people always find ways to adapt to nature through intelligence, faith, and the bonds of community. When you look at the ancient world, you see empires rise and fall, leaving behind monuments, artifacts, and perhaps most crucially, their written words. Through scripts carved in stone or inked onto papyruses, the voices of the past reach us, whispering secrets of vanished cultures. But what happens when we can see the words, recognize the letters, and even pronounce some names, yet remain utterly unable to unlock their meaning? This is the enduring enigma of the Meroitic language of ancient Nubia. A script we can read but not understand, a treasure chest sealed by the passage of time. Do you think there will ever be a day when we fully understand all the secrets of the Meroitic language? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Meroitic language flourished in the heart of Nubia, along the Nile Valley, from around the 3rd century BCE until the 4th century CE. It was the official language of the Kingdom of Meroe, a powerful African civilization that thrived south of Egypt, covering much of present-day northern Sudan. At its height, Meroe was a center of commerce, art, and innovation, boasting monumental pyramids, grand temples, and complex irrigation systems. What set Meroe apart from many contemporaries was its deliberate cultural independence, especially from Egypt. While the Nubians had long been influenced by Egyptian art, religion, and administration, the rulers of Meroe developed their own identity, most strikingly expressed in their unique writing system and language. The Meroitic script is one of the most fascinating writing systems in history, consisting of 2 closely related forms. The first is Meroitic hieroglyphs, a formal and pictorial style typically used for inscriptions on temples, tombs, and stelae. While it resembles Egyptian hieroglyphs with images of birds, snakes, and other symbols, it actually represents a completely different phonetic system. The second form is Meroitic cursive, a simpler, more flowing script that was used for writing on papyrus, pottery fragments, or wood, mainly for administrative, commercial, and possibly even everyday literary purposes. Although the script's appearance was influenced by Egyptian writing, the Meroitic system is actually a unique blend of alphabetic and syllabic elements, rather than a direct offshoot of Egyptian hieroglyphs. It consists of about 23 basic signs. Some stand for individual consonants, like M and K, others represent syllables such as NA or C, and a few denote vowels. Some of these symbols are completely unique, with no clear counterparts in any neighboring scripts. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of the Meroitic script is that, unlike the Rosetta Stone, which enabled the decipherment of Egyptian hieroglyphs thanks to its bilingual Greek text, no complete bilingual inscription has ever been found for Meroitic. Although we possess hundreds of inscriptions on temples, pyramids, funerary stelae, and even graffiti, the vast majority of their meanings remain undeciphered. We can spell out words and recognize the names of kings, gods, and places, but their actual meanings are still beyond our grasp. In the early 20th century, scholars like Francis Llewellyn Griffith made breakthroughs in cracking the Meroitic script itself. By comparing royal names spelled in Egyptian and Meroitic and matching recurring patterns, they worked out the phonetic values of most signs. This allows us to transliterate Meroitic inscriptions into the Latin alphabet with reasonable accuracy. For example, we can read Amanirenas, the name of a famous Meroitic queen, who fought the Romans across multiple stelae. But transliteration is not translation. With few known words and little understanding of the underlying language, the content of most texts remains closed to us. Only a small handful of terms, such as core, king, Kandaki, queen, or royal woman, source of the English word Candace, and a few religious or administrative words have been identified with any confidence, largely through context and repeated occurrence. Unlike Egyptian or Mesopotamian cuneiform, Meroitic is not genetically related to any major ancient script. Its structure, partly alphabetic, partly syllabic, is unique in the region. Some scholars believe it was designed to be as different from Egyptian writing as possible, a statement of cultural and political autonomy. There are many factors that together make the Meroitic script one of the most mysterious and undeciphered writing systems in the world. First of all, the complete lack of bilingual texts similar to the Rosetta Stone means that researchers have no key for comparison and interpretation. The rare texts that do exist in parallel with Egyptian or Greek are too short, too formulaic, and do not provide enough necessary data for proper analysis. Furthermore, the vocabulary whose meaning we truly understand in Meroitic is extremely limited. The majority of words, except for personal names and a few recurring titles, do not appear in any other language, making attempts at guessing their meaning even more difficult. Another major obstacle is that until now, linguists have not agreed on which language family Meroitic belongs to. Some believe it is part of the Nilo-Saharan group, while others lean toward the Afro-Asiatic group. But the grammar syntax and root words of Meroitic show no clear connection to any surviving African language. Additionally, most Meroitic texts are inscriptions on tombstones or religious texts which often use repetitive and formulaic phrases, lacking the diversity of context needed for interpretation. Finally, more than 1,500 years since Meroitic disappeared, there is no surviving tradition, folklore, or oral history to help modern scholars decode it, making this language truly one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Thanks to tireless efforts from scholars, a few islands of meaning within the Meroitic script have been identified. The names of kings' royal families and certain titles have been recognized with reasonable certainty, largely due to king lists and royal correspondence with Egypt and Rome. By analyzing the context of inscriptions, researchers have also deduced the meaning of some administrative terms, such as king, queen, mother, priest, tribute, and possibly even temple or god. Certain religious phrases and formulaic endings like "May he live forever," dedicated to the god or beloved of Isis, have been tentatively assigned meanings through their repetitive appearance. Furthermore, the phonetic values of the script's characters are relatively well understood, which allows modern scholars to read the words aloud from many texts, even if the actual meanings still elude us. Although a few individual words and phrases have been identified, the vast majority of Meroitic texts remain a great mystery to humanity. We do not know the specific details of mythology, cosmology, or religious rituals that the Meroitic people themselves may have recorded. The contents of administrative, legal, or historical documents, possibly stories of wars, treaties, or ancient laws, are still completely beyond our understanding. We also have no idea whether poems, folk tales, or philosophical thoughts were ever expressed through this script, nor do we know how Meroitic society perceived itself, what they feared, what they hoped for, or how they explained the world around them. All of these secrets seem to remain hidden within thousands of ancient inscriptions awaiting a Rosetta Stone of the future to decode and shed light on everything still concealed. Meroitic is not just an academic curiosity, it was the written voice of a mighty civilization. Africa's answer to the scripts of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Greece. The Meroites constructed pyramids and temples covered in their own script, ruled a kingdom that defied Rome, and maintained trade links with faraway lands. Their script, both monumental and practical, was a tool of administration, religion, and identity. Today, the Meroitic pyramids at Begrawiya and the temples along the Nile still bear silent witness to this lost world. Archaeologists regularly uncover new inscriptions, offering the tantalizing hope that one day a breakthrough will come, a longer, bilingual text, a dictionary carved for posterity, or some entirely new approach from computational linguistics or AI. In the 21st century, advances in digital humanities, corpus linguistics, and even cryptography have been brought to bear on the Meroitic script. Scholars construct massive databases of texts, searching for patterns. AI models are being trained to spot possible grammatical structures or semantic groupings. There is optimism, but still no definitive breakthrough. A few words and structures are proposed pronouns, numbers, verb forms, but none are universally accepted. Every step forward brings new questions. The inability to decipher Meroitic is a reminder not all mysteries yield to time. Sometimes the written word is preserved for millennia, yet its meaning dies with its speakers. Meroitic joins the ranks of the world's great undeciphered scripts alongside Linear A, the Indus Valley script, Rongo Rongo of Easter Island, and the Voynich manuscript. But unlike some, Meroitic was the script of a real powerful state, known by its neighbors and recorded in their histories. The kingdom of Meroe was no minor player. It was a land of queens and kings, warriors and priests, inventors and builders. What did they want us to know? What secrets are locked behind the neat lines of Meroitic hieroglyphs and cursive? Until the day of decipherment comes, we can only marvel at the ingenuity and pride of a people who more than 2,000 years ago looked at the mighty civilizations around them and chose to create a new script, one that to this day guards its wisdom in silence. The Meroitic language and script remain one of the greatest mysteries in African and world history. This script is like a locked door. We can see and copy its symbols, but their true meaning is still out of reach. These ancient texts are both a challenge and an invitation to future generations to decode the voice of a lost civilization and revive a forgotten part of human history. Throughout the long history of ancient Egypt spanning thousands of years, perhaps no pharaoh has stirred as much controversy, fear, and fascination as Akhenaten the king, who dared to overturn the very foundations of traditional faith, launching a colossal religious and cultural revolution known as Amarna. The story of Akhenaten is not just the journey of a fanatical reformer, but also the journey of searching for his traces across millennia, especially focusing on the mysteries of his tomb and the fate of his missing mummy, one of the greatest enigmas in modern Egyptology. What do you think really happened to Akhenaten's mummy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Akhenaten, originally named Amenhotep IV, was the son of Amenhotep III and Queen Tiye. Upon ascending the throne, he quickly broke away from the polytheistic religious traditions of ancient Egypt, instead enforcing the first monotheistic belief system in human history, worshipping only the sun god Aten. Akhenaten built a new capital, Akhenaten, now known as Amarna, concentrating all power, art, and faith around the sun. This action not only deeply divided society, but also led later pharaohs to see him as the accursed heretic. Unlike previous pharaohs, who were buried in the legendary Valley of the Kings, Akhenaten's tomb is located in a secluded valley within the royal necropolis of Amarna, far removed from all tradition. This tomb features unusually simple architecture, lacking in ornate details and completely devoid of the wall paintings honoring familiar deities like Osiris, Anubis, or Isis. Instead, all reliefs and paintings exclusively glorify Aten, the sun god, depicted with radiant beams of light. The flat ceiling, straight walls, and absence of labyrinthine corridors all reflect Akhenaten's ultimate revolution in architectural and religious thinking. When the tomb was excavated at the end of the 19th century, archaeologists found a site heavily damaged. The entire entrance corridors and large chambers bore traces of destruction. What remained were only fragments of the stone sarcophagus, some broken reliefs, and subsidiary chambers once used for burying royal family members. However, the most peculiar and controversial fact was not a single mummy of Akhenaten was ever found. No mummy, no remains, no intact artifacts that could conclusively confirm Akhenaten ever rested here. It is precisely the absence of Akhenaten's mummy that has sparked countless theories and endless debates. Traditionally, pharaohs were meticulously mummified, placed in multiple coffins, and protected by layers of curses amulets, and funerary reliefs. However, with Akhenaten, one of the most controversial pharaohs in both life and death, the complete disappearance of his mummy has become the greatest black hole of the Amarna dynasty. Many scholars believe that after Akhenaten's death, his loyal followers secretly moved his body to a safer location to avoid the vengeance curses and destruction from later pharaohs, especially those determined to erase every trace of Amarna. More extreme theories suggest that Akhenaten's mummy was destroyed or hidden in a yet undiscovered subsidiary tomb, as the unidentified mummy fragments found in the area cannot be conclusively identified through DNA or morphology. In the Valley of the Kings, the mummy labeled K-55 was once considered a prime candidate for Akhenaten, but DNA analysis, bone, age, gender, and other historical evidence still cannot definitively confirm it is him. This issue has remained a topic of controversy for decades among the world's leading Egyptologists. The entire tomb of Akhenaten bears unmistakable signs of intentional desecration. Many reliefs have had his face and name chiseled out, a practice known as damnatio memoria erasure from historical memory, reserved for those deemed heretics and traitors to tradition. Symbols of Aten royal imagery and personal names were all obliterated from the walls and the sarcophagus. This shows that after Akhenaten's death, a sweeping campaign of erasure took place, purging the memory of the Amarna era from mainstream Egyptian history. Not only Akhenaten's mummy, but also those of other royals, including princesses' concubines, and even the legendary Nefertiti have left only faint, scattered traces in this tomb. Some subsidiary chambers once held the remains of children and fragments of mummies, but all were later removed or relocated to unknown sites. Some documents suggest that Akhenaten's daughters were temporarily buried here before being taken elsewhere after the fall of Amarna. Perhaps the most unique feature of this tomb is the total absence of any paintings or spells from the Book of the Dead, the traditional collection of magical texts that protected pharaohs in the afterlife. Akhenaten did not allow Osiris Anubis or any traditional Egyptian deity to appear except Aten. This created a sacred yet empty atmosphere, both alien and haunting, reflecting the lonely death of a reformer cursed by all of history. Many modern religious scholars have drawn parallels between Akhenaten and the figure of Moses, as well as the emergence of Western monotheism. Some believe that Akhenaten was overthrown by courtiers, priests, and royals, leading to a mysterious death and a secret burial, one reason why his mummy has never been found. In Egyptian folklore, Akhenaten's tomb has become a symbol of the forgotten dead. People believe that his spirit still wanders Amarna, never able to rest, because his mummy has never been properly laid to rest. Some tales recount how archaeologists seeking Akhenaten's mummy suffered misfortune or even death, further thickening the shroud of mystery over this monument. Today, the tomb of Akhenaten is not merely an archaeological site, but the focal point of every debate about Egyptian history, faith, and the fate of souls erased from human memory. Egyptologists, DNA specialists, and international teams of archaeologists continue to hunt for traces of Akhenaten, hoping that someday his real mummy will be discovered, unlocking the secrets of one of ancient Egypt's most enigmatic eras. The mystery of Akhenaten's tomb, especially the absence of his own mummy, remains one of the most captivating, haunting stories of Egyptian civilization. From its radical architecture, deliberate destruction, to the theories of removal, destruction, or concealment of the mummy, it forms a labyrinth without exit for every generation of scholars and lovers of mysterious history. And it is precisely this absence that makes the story of Akhenaten, the Amarna era, and the Aten Revolution immortal as a reminder that sometimes the greatest secrets of humanity will forever lie just out of reach. If there is any natural symbol that made all of America bow its head in remembrance when it collapsed, it is surely the Old Man of the Mountain, the gigantic face carved by time, ice, wind, rain, and secrets that modern science still cannot fully explain. Towering over Franconia Notch, New Hampshire, for countless millennia, the stone elder was not only a geological wonder, but also a treasury of legend, a spiritual obsession, and an unsolved riddle about how the universe creates things that seem almost impossible. Why do you think nature created such a perfect face on this mountainside? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Old Man of the Mountain was not the work of human hands, nor was it an ordinary mountain. From afar, against the silvery gray backdrop of the White Mountains, massive granite slabs stacked upon each other formed the visage of an old man, a long nose, jutting chin, prominent brow, all so complete as to defy belief. Only when standing at a precise spot in the Franconia Notch Valley could one see the entire face appear like an ancient guardian, silently gazing out toward the horizon. That stone face stood 12 meters high and nearly 8 meters wide, equivalent to a 4-story building, and it existed there long before the first footprints of Native Americans. For centuries, not just New Hampshire, but all of America regarded the Old Man of the Mountain as the soul of the land, a symbol of endurance, resilience, and indomitability. What created such a complete human face amid barren cliffs where no one ever carved and no Greek myth stands behind it? That is the question that has haunted generations, from native tribes, European settlers, to modern geologists and symbol researchers. Scientists believe the Old Man of the Mountain was formed by tens of thousands of years of glacial and erosional processes. Millions of years ago, this area was buried under vast sheets of ice from the last ice age. As the ice gradually melted, enormous granite cliffs emerged, subjected to the relentless wear of wind, water, and extreme temperature swings. Small cracks and fissures in the rock widened over the years, causing granite fragments to stack into a special shape, and somehow, by a miracle, these blocks fit together to form the image of a human face. Yet there is a great paradox: the odds of nature creating a human face, complete with nose, lips, brow, chin, and an almost perfect profile, after millions of years of random erosion, are vanishingly small, virtually impossible. And yet, that is exactly what happened, and at this very place. Many geologists have admitted, while the physical process can be described, granite blocks stacking into a face is quite another matter. Computer simulations show that even a minor tremor or slight climate change would have prevented the face from appearing at all, or turned it into a meaningless shape. Other theories even wonder, could the existence of the Old Man of the Mountain be a conscious coincidence in nature, as if the universe deliberately left a mark in the forests of New Hampshire? From a symbolic perspective, the image of a human face is always tied to the ideas of presence, guardianship, and supernatural power. Some unorthodox researchers have linked the Old Man of the Mountain to pareidolia, where the human brain automatically recognizes faces where none actually exist. But the problem is not just a few, but hundreds of thousands of visitors and locals agree on the image, so it's not simply collective hallucination. Surveys show that the granite blocks making up the Old Man of the Mountain are about 200 million years old, from the era when dinosaurs still roamed the Earth. But the face itself only formed after the last icy age that is more than 10,000 years ago. Remarkably, for tens of thousands of years, the stone face barely changed, despite enduring hundreds of minor earthquakes, severe weather, and climate fluctuations. Was this the will of nature, or simply the result of pure physics? This question, even today, has no final answer. For centuries, the Abenaki people have regarded the Old Man of the Mountain as a guardian spirit of the land, the watcher of ancestral souls, and a harbinger of good fortune. Some legends tell that whenever the villagers were in danger, the stone face would warn them through strange howling winds or unusual mists. Even some modern tales say that on moonlit nights, anyone passing through Franconia Notch might hear whispers or feel someone watching from above, as if the old man still lives silently protecting the land from harm. It's no coincidence that the image of the Old Man of the Mountain became the official symbol of New Hampshire, appearing on license plates, badges, coins, and countless works of art. For Americans, this was not just a scenic spot, but a spiritual companion, a testament to endurance and regional pride in the American Northeast. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people make a pilgrimage to Franconia Notch just to gaze up at the stone face, take commemorative photos, and feel their own smallness before time and nature. Politicians, writers, and musicians have all drawn inspiration from the Old Man, whether for speeches, creative works, or to boost morale. After decades of reinforcement with cement steel cables and countless technical measures, on a night in May 2003, the Old Man of the Mountain suddenly collapsed completely. The news spread like wildfire, from local newspapers to national TV, from online forums to family gatherings. Everyone was talking about the death of the Old Man of the Mountain. Some wept, some quietly brought flowers to the mountain's base. Some believe this is an omen for a new era, tying it to a series of major events in America and the world that followed. But there were also many conspiracy theories that the collapse was a warning signal from nature, or proof that nature cannot be tamed forever by human technology. Today, though the Old Man of the Mountain no longer physically exists, it lives on in the hearts of New Hampshire's people and visitors everywhere. A modern memorial with a special viewing system lets visitors recreate the stone face from its original spot, reminding us that some things belonging to memory and spirit are stronger than the physical. Many scholars and explorers continue to debate: is the Old Man of the Mountain evidence of a supernatural coincidence in the universe, or just a product of physics and time? Why, after millions of years, is there only one such face like this, while nowhere else in the world has a complete duplicate? Mandela effect theories even claim that in certain parallel dimensions, the Old Man still exists, and occasionally those who are sensitive still see that face when they look up at Franconia Notch in the morning mist. The Old Man of the Mountain is proof of nature's power to create wonders beyond human imagination. It also reminds us that some mysteries don't need to be completely explained, only respected and remembered. Because whenever someone asks, what is the Old Man of the Mountain, people in New Hampshire can proudly answer, it is the soul of this land, a secret nature entrusted to humanity about endurance and resilience, and a reminder of the limits of science before things that seem impossible. When we think about maps, we often picture vast atlases, digital satellites, or paper scrolls that lay out continents, seas, and borders with mathematical precision. Yet the true origins of cartography reach much deeper into our collective past, back to an era when human civilization was just beginning to shape its understanding of the world. It is here, in the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, that we find the earliest surviving maps carved not on paper, but on humble tablets of clay by the ancient Sumerians and their Babylonian heirs. These Sumerian clay maps are not only technical marvels for their age, they are also gateways to a realm of enigmas, half-lost legends, and unresolved questions that continue to intrigue scholars and storytellers alike. What do you find most fascinating about Sumerian clay maps? Share your thoughts in the comments below. To understand the profound mystery embedded within these tablets, we must first appreciate their context. The Sumerians were among the very first people on Earth to build cities, organize complex societies, develop a system of writing cuneiform, and create monumental architecture. Their worldview was a rich blend of practical experience, cosmic mythology, and emerging science. The act of making a map was in Sumer not merely a technical task, but also a reflection of how they imagined order in the universe, where land, water, the heavens, and the underworld were all intertwined. Some of the oldest known clay maps date to around 2300 to 1500 BCE. The Nippur map, for example, carved with wedge-shaped cuneiform symbols and geometric lines, depicts a region with rivers, city layouts, temple precincts, and agricultural plots. Its very existence is astounding. It is arguably the world's first attempt at urban planning and land registry. The later Babylonian world map, Imago Mundi, dates from the 6th century BCE and provides a stylized vision of the cosmos with Babylon at the center, surrounded by a circular, bitter river, Oceanus, and outer lands, labeled with enigmatic cuneiform texts. Unlike modern maps which strive for accuracy and geographic precision, Sumerian clay maps operated in a liminal space between literal reality and symbolic meaning. Some tablets are practical, recording the boundaries of farms, the courses of irrigation, canals, or property ownership for legal and economic purposes. Others, such as Imago Mundi, combine the real and the mythical. Babylon stands at the world's navel, encircled by a vast river, echoing Sumerian beliefs about cosmic order and divine geography. Surrounding this are distant lands with descriptions that defy easy interpretation. This tension between what is meant to be measured and what is meant to be imagined makes the study of Sumerian clay maps uniquely fascinating. But it is also the source of their greatest mysteries. One of the strangest things researchers have discovered when decoding Sumerian clay maps is the appearance of many lands, areas, or cities with names that are entirely unfamiliar, sometimes impossible to link to any location known today. On many tablets, besides well-known cities like Nippur, Babylon, or Sippar, there are lands with names that are difficult to translate or marked by special characters. These could be real cities, long since buried beneath silt, or perhaps simply mythical concepts. Some scholars believe these are traces of civilizations, kingdoms, or communities that once existed but were completely wiped out by war, natural disasters, or the shifting of rivers. Others lean toward the idea that these names represent symbolic lands, products of imagination, legend, or metaphysical ideas the Sumerians used to explain natural phenomena and the world beyond comprehension. The Imago Mundi map is famous for its depiction of Babylon at the center, surrounded by a circle known as the bitter river Oceanus, which separates the world of humans from outer lands. Many questions arise. Did this river actually exist, or is it a symbolic, cosmic boundary emphasizing the belief that the Sumerian world was only a tiny part of a vast universe, and beyond lay forces of chaos, myth, and the unreachable? Notes on the map's periphery describe distant lands where the sun cannot shine, lands of eternal darkness, or beyond the bitter sea, phrases that evoke for modern minds the polar regions, the perpetual night of the poles, or even the edge of the world in ancient thinking. Yet there is still no definitive answer. Are these real geographical records, or entirely symbolic, ceremonial and religious constructs? Although archaeologists and experts in cuneiform have decoded much of the Sumerian language, many symbols, phrases and descriptions on clay maps remain mysterious. Sometimes the same character appears on different maps, but means something different depending on context or ritual. Certain phrases reference the gate of heaven, the road to the underworld, or where the gods sleep, sparking endless debate. Are these literal directions, descriptions of sacred places, or coded signs for religious rituals, magic, or even spiritual maps? Some maps are broken, missing vital information. Sometimes a single missing line can change the entire meaning of the map. This incompleteness is both a regret for researchers and a driving force, spurring new generations to keep searching. Another major controversy concerns the real purpose of Sumerian clay maps. Most tablets contain practical information about land, rivers, and cultivated areas, but they also embed mythological symbols, cosmological diagrams, creation legends, or religious rituals. Were they simply tools for land management, property disputes, and resource control? Or were they props for rituals, ways for rulers to assert power before the people, or even guides for souls on spiritual journeys? Some researchers believe the merging of temples, palaces, and the center of the universe on these maps served to reinforce social order and legitimize the ruler's divine authority. Perhaps the most wondrous and strange aspect of Sumerian clay maps is how they blur the boundary between the real world and the world of imagination. Unidentified lands, rivers that exist only in legend cities in darkness or beyond the sun, all create maps that not only guide physical travel, but also lead the mind past the limits of perception. Archaeologists cannot say for certain where the edge of ancient awareness lay. Did the Sumerians fully believe in these lands, or did they use these images to illustrate philosophy and teach about the limits of humanity in a vast cosmos? Were these maps gateways between the earthly and the divine, or merely documents for administration? Unsolved mysteries are not only a challenge for modern researchers, but also open new perspectives on ancient thought. The way Sumerian clay maps blend real geography with mythology, ritual, and philosophy shows that our ancestors viewed the world as a whole without separating science from religion or legend. They remind us that each map is not just a physical object, but a mirror reflecting humanity's desire to understand the world, fear of the unknown, an urge to push beyond personal limits. The greatest mystery might lie in the mind of the map's creator. What did they hope for? Carving symbols into clay meant to endure for thousands of years. That is a question that no archaeologist, linguist, or mythologist has ever fully answered. Today, Sumerian clay maps are not just archaeological treasures, but a shared cultural heritage of humanity. It's the unanswered mysteries that make them even more valuable and fascinating, inspiring new generations to keep exploring and creating. If one day all their secrets are revealed, perhaps we'll lose some of that magic, because it's the mystery itself that gives these ancient maps their eternal soul. In the world of archaeology, there are artifacts that may seem simple, but actually contain a wealth of knowledge, mysteries, and questions that challenge the intellect of modern humans. One such treasure is the Nippur cubit rod, an ancient measuring stick discovered in the city of Nippur, the heart of Sumerian civilization. Behind its modest appearance lie countless unsolved mysteries, from its origins, methods of production, to its true meaning and far-reaching influence. In your opinion, what is the greatest mystery of the Nippur cubit rod that we have yet to solve? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. The Nippur cubit rod is a measuring stick made of stone or bronze unearthed at the Nippur archaeological site in southern Mesopotamia, now part of Iraq. Its estimated age is about 2,500 years before Christ. That is more than 4,000 years ago. Its standard length is between 518 and 530 millimeters, carved into many small segments, each representing 1 cubit, a unit known as the distance from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger of an adult. For those interested in history, the Nippur cubit rod is not just a tool, but a rare testament to one of the first standardized measurement systems in human history. Upon its discovery, archaeologists and historians were astounded by the level of social organization, scientific development, and the orderly thinking of the Sumerians, the first civilization to build cities, invent writing, establish laws, and now standardized measurement systems. A standardized measurement system is not easy to form, even in the modern world. For different communities to accept a common standard requires management consensus and central authority. The Nippur cubit rod proves that even in ancient times, the Sumerians knew how to apply standardization in state management, construction, agriculture, and commerce. On this rod, the small markings, representing 1/2, 1/3, 1/6, 1/12, show that the concept of fractions and division was already well developed. The finely carved segments on hard materials reflect a high level of craftsmanship and exceptional mathematical thinking. Thanks to such measurement standards, the Sumerians were able to build magnificent structures, control massive irrigation systems in a land often threatened by floods, and establish contracts and commercial transactions with reliability and transparency. This was the foundation for the complex development of society, something that seemingly only existed in later civilizations. Delving into the mysteries surrounding the Nippur cubit, one cannot help but pose a series of unanswered questions. First, what prompted a young civilization like Sumer to so early invest in building a unified system of measurement? Was this merely the inevitable result of the need for construction, irrigation, management, and land administration, or were there deeper motivations related to power, such as tax collection or the organization of religious rituals? Some scholars argue that only when society reaches a sufficient level of complexity does standardization become a vital necessity. However, the specific reasons behind that decision remain a mystery to this day. Another enigma lies in the extraordinary accuracy of this measuring rod. When modern scientists measured it, they found that the margin of error for the Nippur cubit rod was only a few millimeters, which is remarkably impressive for an object crafted over 4 millennia ago. How could the Sumerians achieve such precision without modern mechanical tools? What instruments did they use to measure, inspect, and refine the product? Some theories suggest they used standardized measuring cords or even astronomical methods, yet concrete evidence about the production process and quality control has yet to be discovered. In fact, quite a few scholars even suggest that the Nippur cubit rod may have served as a master ruler reserved for builders or individuals holding special positions in society. If so, its production process must have been extremely strict, far beyond what other ancient civilizations of the time could achieve. Moreover, the cubit unit itself remains a major mystery. This unit appeared in many civilizations, such as Sumer, Egypt, Babylon, Israel, and Greece, yet the actual length differed considerably, ranging from about 44 to 53 centimeters. Why did such discrepancies exist? Did these civilizations develop their measurement units independently, or was there once a superstandard that spread and gradually evolved? Some historians believe the Nippur cubit rod could be the origin, or at least a crucial link, in the ancient measurement systems of the Mediterranean and Middle East. However, others argue that each civilization chose its standard based on the length of the king's arm or a special individual. The mystery of the true origins and the reasons behind the dispersal of the cubit unit remains unsolved. Additionally, the spread of the idea of measurement standardization is also controversial. Many documents point out strange similarities among cubit rods in Nippur, Egypt, and many later civilizations in the Mediterranean. But what path did this idea travel to reach such distant lands? Was it the result of trade war? Or were there even more secret channels of cultural exchange? To this day, there has been no record discovered of craft transmission or technology exchange regarding measurement between these civilizations. This only further raises the hypothesis that perhaps ancient societies independently recognized the importance of standardization and developed it in parallel, or there existed secret societies, groups of craftsmen who preserved these secrets through generations. Beyond mere measurement, the true purpose of the Nippur cubit rod is also a great mystery. Many researchers suggest that in addition to its function in construction, the rod may have been used in religious rituals, the planning of sacred structures, or even for astronomical observation and determining time cycles. The small markings could be symbolic signs or may contain esoteric mathematics that modern people have not yet recognized. So could there be secrets encoded within the rod itself, such as the golden ratio, special numbers, or astronomical cycles that we have not been able to decipher? The lack of detailed written instructions for its use only makes the Nippur cubit rod an even more speculative and captivating subject, rivaling any mysterious artifact of humanity. Finally, one must ask, is this the only master cubit rod? Up to now, archaeologists have discovered only a very few standard cubit rods like those in Nippur. Does this mean that all buildings, irrigation systems, and land divisions in Mesopotamia adhered strictly to this standard, or were there many other rods for different builders, social classes, or purposes that we have not yet found? If there was such diversity in measurement standards, then what does their uniformity or difference reveal about the social organization, management capability, and technology of the Sumerian era? All these questions still await researchers to further explore and answer. The discovery and study of the Nippur cubit rod not only illuminates the level of Sumerian development, but also serves as a mirror for modern society to reflect on the history of standardization, a key factor in civilization. It reminds us of the importance of consensus transparency and accuracy in every area of life, from infrastructure construction to financial management, science and technology to commerce. The unanswered questions surrounding the Nippur cubit rod are also motivation for archaeologists, historians, and researchers to keep searching, piecing together clues to form a comprehensive picture of human history. Will future discoveries of similar rods or ancient texts finally answer all the mysteries around it? The Nippur cubit rod, seemingly just a simple measuring stick, is actually a golden key opening the door to Sumerian intelligence, creativity, and unanswered mysteries, ancestors of all civilization. Its existence, precision, social significance, cross-cultural influence, and above all, its still unsolved mysteries are what make the Nippur cubit rod one of the most fascinating artifacts in archaeology, forever challenging humanity's understanding of the distant past. When speaking of ancient civilizations, most people think of glorious cities, majestic palaces, and grand plazas flooded with sunlight. Yet hidden deep underground, or stretching beyond the outskirts of those ancient cities, there exists another kind of city, silent, grand, and steeped in mystery, the necropolis, the city of the dead. Do you believe there are still mysteries within the necropolises that remain unsolved? Share your thoughts or theories about necropolis in the comments below. Unlike modern cemeteries, a necropolis was planned much like a real city. There were streets, alleys, and separate districts for royalty, nobility officials, artisans, and even commoners. In many places, the necropolis expanded over centuries. Each dynasty or family line added new layers, creating a labyrinth of stacked tombs. This enormous scale is a testament to a philosophy of life and death that runs through human history. Death is merely a gateway to another world, where the soul still needs houses, possessions, and even social status. However, what sets necropolises apart from all other burial sites is their architecture and construction techniques, a field that even today leaves humanity in awe of ancient ingenuity. Foremost among necropolises is the Giza necropolis, with its 3 famous pyramids, Cheops, Khafra Menkaure, and hundreds of satellite tombs. The pyramids impress not only because of their massive size, each stone block weighing tons, the total volume comparable to a modern skyscraper, but also because of their astonishing precision. The baselines are perfectly square. The slopes deviate by only a few minutes of arc from mathematical perfection. And the inner chambers are positioned precisely according to stars or astronomical axes. To this day, how the ancient Egyptians moved, lifted, and assembled millions of stones without modern machinery remains a great mystery. Many theories have been proposed: sloped ramps, pulleys, perhaps even unknown technologies, but none provide a definitive answer. In Thebes, the Valley of the Kings, Egypt and Petra Jordan tombs are not built on the surface, but disappear into the mountainside. Hundreds of tombs, some with corridors over 100 meters long, have hidden burial chambers and disguised stone doors. The technique of carving hard rock, creating squared blocks, complex corridors, vaulted ceilings, and interior stone columns, all done with rudimentary tools, continues to astound archaeologists with its refinement. At Petra, the facades of the tombs are intricately carved, sometimes bearing cultural marks blending Egyptian, Greek, and Roman styles, showcasing a miraculous cultural fusion, and raising the question, who were the true artisans behind these works? Techniques such as hidden chambers, trap passageways, or multiple false doors also appear in many necropolises, meant to mislead grave robbers or eternally protect the deceased. Ancient peoples did not only build pyramids, they also constructed earth mounds, tumuli-stepped tombs, mastabas, underground burial chambers, hypogea, and crypts with astonishing scale. In Cerveteri, Italy, Etruscan tumuli have diameters of dozens of meters containing entire houses of stone inside, complete with living rooms, corridors, altars, and dining tables like a lively stone mansion. In Malta, hypogea, such as Hal Saflieni, were dug 3 stories deep into the earth, connected by winding tunnels and featuring echo chambers techniques far beyond what such a small civilization was thought capable of. In Peru, ancient crypts at Chowchilla and Paracas have preserved mummies for thousands of years thanks to extremely refined microclimate control techniques. One of the greatest mysteries of the necropolises is how ancient people could transport and assemble multi-ton stone blocks to construct colossal structures with almost perfect precision, all without the aid of modern machinery. Many pyramids and tombs were built using stones quarried tens or even hundreds of kilometers away. For example, the ancient Egyptians transported granite from Aswan to Giza, crossing the Nile and traversing immense land distances. How they managed this whether by sledges, wheeled carts, wooden rafts, or some other method, remains the subject of speculation with no definitive answer yet found. Beyond transportation, the techniques used to assemble and hoist these massive stones also remain a major question. How did they fit the blocks together without mortar yet, so precisely that a razor blade cannot fit between them? And how did they determine the exact positions, balance, and perfect angles for the entire structure? In addition, many necropolises were built on soft soil or in earthquake-prone regions like Peru, Sicily, or the Middle East, yet have stood firm for thousands of years without collapsing. This leads researchers to question the ancient secrets of foundation reinforcement, waterproofing, and subsidence prevention. Did they use sand seashells or some kind of special multi-layered structures? On top of that, royal tombs within necropolises also featured extremely sophisticated security technologies, including multiple false walls, winding passageways, trapdoors or secret doors, all designed to mislead grave robbers and protect the bodies and treasures buried within, displaying a level of complexity rivaling that of modern bunkers. Alongside their massive architectural scale, necropolises also leave a powerful impression through their interior decoration, intricate carvings, reliefs, and mysterious inscriptions. In the Valley of the King's Wall, paintings and reliefs vividly depict the afterlife, the gods, ritual journeys across the river of death, and magical spells to protect the soul, all rendered with striking detail and colors that remain vibrant after thousands of years. Moreover, many necropolises are filled with hieroglyphs, strange symbols, or abstract geometric patterns, some of which have yet to be deciphered. For example, the spirals in Malta, the bullman figures in Sardinia, and the mysterious symbols at Pantalica, Sicily. These markings may be soul locators or guides for the journey to the afterlife. Notably, some structures, such as the hypogea of Hal Saflieni in Malta, feature unique acoustic architecture with resonating chambers where deep sounds echo throughout the underground complex, creating a mysterious and magical effect, suggesting that the ancients may have known how to harness sound waves for sacred, spiritual rituals. Necropolis is not merely a place for burying the dead, it is also a miniature map of an entire ancient society. Through the location and design of the tombs, one can clearly see the hierarchy among the social classes of the past. Tombs situated near the center of the necropolis are often grand in scale and intricately carved, reflecting the status and power of those buried within. These are typically the graves of kings, queens, or nobles, complete with reception rooms, multiple side chambers, long corridors, and sometimes even gardens or private guard areas. In contrast, communal graves, children's tombs, or those for slaves are located at the edges of the necropolis and are much simpler in architecture, often just common burial pits or stacked tiers of graves. This difference not only mirrors the power and status people held in life, but also reveals the belief that social order would continue to be maintained even in the afterlife. Thanks to advances in modern archaeological technology, more and more unsolved mysteries within the necropolises are gradually being uncovered. Researchers have repeatedly discovered hidden chambers cleverly concealed behind stone walls, like those at Giza Saqqara or Thebes, containing voids whose true functions remain unidentified to this day. Some theories suggest that these might have been used to store treasures, serve as ritual chambers, or act as secret vaults to hide royal remains and mislead grave robbers. Additionally, many necropolises contain vast systems of underground passages and tunnels, some connecting different tombs and even leading to neighboring urban areas. These tunnels were sometimes bored through extremely hard rocks stretching for hundreds of meters, a technical feat, far ahead of their time, raising countless theories about their intended purpose: escape routes, spirit paths to the afterlife, or simply hidden defense systems. Furthermore, in many large necropolises, archaeologists have discovered thousands of nameless graves, tombs, whose occupants remain unidentified mysteries. In some cases, they have found deformed skeletons or grave goods that do not match the local culture, hinting at racial and religious mixing, or even mysteries related to spiritual migration that modern science still cannot fully explain. Surrounding the magnificent architectural achievements of necropolises, many lively theories and debates have arisen among scholars. Some believe that certain construction techniques used in these cities of the dead far surpassed the capabilities of contemporary civilizations, leaving later generations to wonder about their true origins. There are opinions that cultures such as the Egyptians, Etruscans, or ancient communities on Malta and in Peru were in fact profoundly influenced by a long-lost prehistoric civilization. According to this theory, these advanced building techniques were the legacy of ancient ancestors' skills that later cultures could only partially imitate rather than invent from scratch. In addition, some even more daring hypotheses suggest that necropolis architecture may bear traces of extraterrestrial technology, pointing to strange similarities in construction methods, astronomical alignments, and mysterious symbols that appear in many places, worldwide phenomena that modern science has yet to explain satisfactorily. Alongside these debates, many researchers also note that a great number of specialized construction techniques, from transporting massive stone blocks and carving hard rock to joining stones with perfect precision, seem to have vanished completely from human history, leaving no trace or transmission to later generations, making necropolises all the more mysterious and continually fueling human curiosity through the ages. For thousands of years, necropolises have been more than graveyards. They are living museums of ancient art, engineering, society, and religion. They remind future generations of the limits of current knowledge, of humility before the past, and of the boundless creativity of humanity or of someone history has forgotten. Each new discovery in a necropolis sparks countless questions. How much do we really know about our ancestors? Are these construction techniques lost forever? Or are they awaiting rediscovery? And what truly lies beneath those cold stones? Just mummies or messages left for the future? Located in the Taxila Valley, a land that once served as a crossroads for some of Asia and Europe's greatest civilizations, Sirkap stands out as a remarkable anomaly of the ancient world. Not only because of its Western standard grid layout, a rarity even among larger cities in India, but also because its rise and sudden fall remain unsolved mysteries. In Sirkap, one can trace the influences of Greece, Persia, India, and Scythia, with religions colliding and merging within temples, stupas, and artifacts, yet in just a short span of time, everything vanished without a trace. What do you think truly caused a city like Sirkap to vanish without a trace? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Even its name, Sirkap, hints at something cut out or divided into a grid, referencing the city's unique layout. According to historical sources and archaeology, Sirkap was built around the 2nd century BCE by the Bactrian Greeks under King Demetrius, the first adventurers from the West, who brought with them visions of an ideal city where the rules of reason and geometry would conquer chaos. Unlike most Indian cities which grew organically, Sirkap was meticulously planned from the start, with straight streets intersecting like a chessboard, creating perfectly square blocks. This system was extremely well suited to the local climate and lifestyle, convenient for military purposes, and made civil order easy to maintain. People have compared Sirkap to the Hippodamian cities of ancient Greece, and it was arguably even more Western than many contemporary European cities. But Sirkap was not just Greek architecture. It was a meeting point of civilizations. Greek temples stood beside Buddhist stupas, Persian-style columns intertwined with Indian stone fortifications. Archaeologists have found statues of Athena and Apollo, but also images of the mythical bird Garuda double-headed lion reliefs and the double-headed eagle stupa, a symbol both strange and familiar, reminiscent of Scythian or Parthian power. Pottery, jewelry, and daily items were all mixed: a Roman-style cup, an Iranian-style screen, and everyday wares of the locals. Nowhere else in ancient South Asia do we see such a clear blend of religions and ethnicities as in Sirkap. Alongside Greek and Hindu structures, Buddhism flourished numerous stupas, large and small monasteries, temples, and Buddhist relics, as well as Jain and Zoroastrian statues. Travelers along the Silk Road recounted their amazement at seeing Indian ascetics debating philosophy with Buddhist monks and Greek merchants. Sirkap's atmosphere was one of creativity, experimentation, and mystery. Sirkap's very location was an enigma of its era. Situated right at a crossroads of the ancient Silk Road, it was a hub for goods from China, Central Asia, the Mediterranean, and the Indian interior. Goods as well as ideas and technology flowed through like an unstoppable current. A city like this should have lasted forever, or at least left behind a monumental legacy. At Sirkap, archaeologists continuously discover many strange relics that to this day have no satisfactory explanation. Most notable is the double-headed eagle stupa, a structure that carries elements of West Asian art and echoes Scythian legends, yet stands majestically at the heart of this Buddhist city. So far, no one has been able to fully explain why such a unique symbol appears at Sirkap. In addition, some sections of the city walls were built using extremely advanced techniques, with stone blocks precisely cut and interwoven with underground piping systems and hidden doors whose purposes remain mysterious to this day. Furthermore, it is impossible not to mention the remarkable hybrid artifacts. Many metal, stone, and ceramic objects found at Sirkap bear both Greek artistic influences and distinctive local features, even employing metallurgical techniques far ahead of contemporary South Asian standards. The city reached its zenith around the 1st century BCE, serving as the capital for a series of dynasties: Greek, Scythian, Parthian, Kushan. At times, over 100,000 people lived here, a massive population by ancient urban standards. Sirkap hosted multi-faith festivals, brought together merchants from across the continent, and attracted scholars seeking to explore both Eastern and Western philosophical schools. With its grid plan, solid fortifications, and cultural diversity, Sirkap was almost the model urban city in many eyes. Even today, archaeological maps astound researchers with the scientific logical arrangement of every street, residential block, water supply system, and placement of sacred sites. And then, like a death with no warning, Sirkap was suddenly abandoned. There is no evidence of a major epidemic, no signs of devastation by natural disaster such as earthquake or volcano. Archaeological remains show no traces of widespread fire, mass graves, bloodstains, or signs of catastrophic destruction. All that's left are empty houses, collapsing walls, and silent stupas overtaken by weeds. So what really happened? Some researchers suggest that climate change or widespread disease struck Sirkap. In those times, extreme weather might have polluted water sources, triggering outbreaks of malaria or cholera. However, archaeological surveys do not reveal the layers of animal or human remains that typically mark cities lost to plague, as seen in Pompeii with volcanic eruption or ancient Egyptian cities devastated by disease. A popular explanation is the shifting of the Silk Road routes. As trade shifted north or south, cities like Sirkap, whose life depended on commerce, lost their prominence, gradually declining due to an unsustainable economy. This is a familiar pattern in history, but it struggles to explain Sirkap's total and rapid collapse. Even with reduced commerce, a city might retain a smaller population, not be completely deserted. Records mention repeated invasions of Taxila by Scythians, Parthians, and later Kushans. Migratory and conquering armies devastated and occupied many cities, changing their population and culture. Yet at Sirkap, archaeology finds little evidence of large-scale warfare. Not many weapons, no mass graves, and none of the signs of slaughter seen elsewhere. When the Kushan dynasty rose, the capital gradually shifted to Sirsuk, a newly built city nearby with different architecture layout and objectives. This migration could have abandoned Sirkap as residents moved to the new site. But then why was the entire city, with all its temples, stupas, and infrastructure, left nearly untouched? Why was there no effort to reuse the buildings? No revival movement, even though Sirkap's location was still strategic. Some modern historians suggest that too intense a blend of cultures and religions, coupled with political instability, triggered a crisis of faith and social fragmentation. Without a strong center of power to maintain order, smaller communities dissolved and left the city. But this theory also lacks concrete evidence from the ruins. Some propose that Sirkap fell victim to a collective will to erase a multicultural past in favor of building a new identity better suited to later dynasties. Abandonment, erasing its name, neglecting the monuments, even failing to recycle its infrastructure, would be a form of wiping the slate clean, rare but possible in times of upheaval. Sirkap's disappearance was not a lone event. It completely altered the cultural and economic balance of the Taxila region. Beautiful ruins, massive stupas, residential areas, markets, waterworks, all swallowed by nature. For centuries, Sirkap was almost collectively forgotten, rarely mentioned in records, not preserved in legend, even omitted from the tales of neighboring peoples. When 19th century archaeologists rediscovered Sirkap, they were stunned by the preservation of the ruins and equally amazed by the lack of ending evidence, no single event or marker large enough to record in history books. Perhaps it was precisely Sirkap's multiculturalism and openness to foreign influences that made it so easily abandoned when the tide of history shifted. To this day, Sirkap remains an open mystery of South Asian archaeology. Modern research into soil layers DNA, traces construction techniques, and religious relics has yet to yield final answers. The only certainty is a modern, civilized, culturally diverse city at its height can vanish completely in just a few generations, forgotten by name, ignored by memory. Sirkap's warning is, nothing is permanent in a world of change. Even civilizations believed indelible can dissolve into oblivion if they lack deep roots and lasting cohesion. Today, Sirkap serves as an inspiration for researchers in urban studies, archaeology, and sociology, offering valuable lessons about city building and preservation. The disappearance of Sirkap raises profound questions. Can humans truly control the fate of the cities they create? Where is the line between integration and the loss of identity? What causes a once glorious city to be completely forgotten? Sirkap urban grid is not just an ancient Greek city in India, but also a symbol of the fragility of multicultural civilizations. The mysterious fall of Sirkap remains a fascinating topic for anyone interested in history and archaeology. There are lands where history is not only buried beneath layers of earth and stone, it also echoes in every gust of wind, in every faint trace left by ancient hands. Tepe Sialk is just such a place, a quiet mound amid the deserts of central Iran, once home to communities whose figures, voices, and destinies have been buried for countless millennia. No one truly knows who they were, where they came from, or what legacy they left behind, aside from scattered fragments of pottery, metal, and mysterious graves. Today, as the modern world gazes upon Tepe Sialk, every question revolves around one unsolved mystery. Who were the Sialk people really, and why have they become mere ghosts in the memory of Iranian civilization? What do you think happened to the mysterious people of Tepe Sialk? Do you have your own theory about who they really were? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tepe Sialk is not just an ordinary ancient mound, but a vast archaeological site where scientists have discovered at least 6 overlapping cultural layers, each lasting for centuries, and sometimes even millennia. These layers are like pages of history gradually revealed before the eyes of researchers, unveiling the story of formation, development, decline, and rebirth of an extraordinarily unique community. The deepest layer of Sialk dates back to around 6,000 years before Christ and is even believed to be older than the Mesopotamian civilization. Artifacts made of terracotta stone, metal ceramics, jewelry, and weapons have been found in large quantities and remarkable diversity, showing that this was once a flourishing population center. The continuous presence of inhabitants throughout the ages, alternating with periods of abandonment and resettlement, makes Sialk not only appear as an immortal city, but also resemble a time machine that hides countless mysteries about early humanity. Many consider Tepe Sialk to be a vibrant encyclopedia of the remarkable achievements of prehistoric humanity. This site boasts some of the oldest ziggurat temple structures in the world, built from baked bricks and mud, in a complex, multi-tiered design appearing long before the pyramids of Egypt. In addition, traces of extremely ancient metallurgical furnaces discovered at Sialk demonstrate that the skills of smelting and crafting copper, lead, silver, and gold had reached a level of sophistication far beyond common assumptions about technical capabilities in ancient times. Not only that, the deep wells, underground water channels, canals, and various other irrigation works found here show that the people of Sialk had learned to adapt, control, and use water resources intelligently in an arid region, a crucial inherited trait of later Iranian civilizations. Especially noteworthy are the strange signs and symbols that appear frequently on pottery shards, jewelry, and tools. Many researchers believe these could be the earliest evidence for the formation of an independent writing system on the Iranian plateau. Although thousands of artifacts have been unearthed and hundreds of tombs have revealed many secrets about daily life, death, and burial rituals, the greatest question remains: who were the Sialk people really? This is the starting point for a deep chain of mysteries about their origins, ethnicity, and language. Archaeological evidence suggests that the inhabitants of Sialk were not a single tribe, but the result of many waves of migration, cultural blending, and ongoing social evolution over generations. Some scholars believe they are connected to Proto-Elamite groups, Proto-Iranian peoples, or even the distant ancestors of Aryan tribes that once spread across the plateau. The skeletal remains, skulls, and burial forms found in their tombs show diversity. Some were tall, others small with characteristics of Western Asia, but also hints of Central or even South Asian ancestry. Their language remains a complete mystery, as Sialk has not left behind any complete written records. The signs found on pottery clay and metal objects are still only hypothetical evidence of a primitive writing system that has yet to be clearly deciphered. In terms of daily life, social organization, and spiritual beliefs, the Sialk people are thought to have lived in developed clan-based communities with clear social stratification, evident in the differences between burial areas, from ordinary graves to aristocratic tombs accompanied by jewelry, weapons, and precious items. Their burial rituals, grave locations, decorative styles, and funeral ceremonies all point to a complex belief system, worshipping deities, venerating ancestors, and possibly performing sacrificial rites. Some artifacts, such as masks, amulets, animal and human figurines, bear strong spiritual significance connected to the cycle of life and death and belief in the afterlife. Even though Tepe Sialk was once a vibrant cultural and technological center, it has been abandoned many times throughout history for reasons that remain mysterious. Theories include climate change, desertification, epidemics, military invasions, natural disasters, or the rise of new power centers, all of which may have caused the Sialk people to migrate or be absorbed into other civilizations. There are no historical records, no written documents, only silent layers of earth remaining. Sialk is like a sleeping giant, its true identity buried for centuries under the dust of time. Many researchers believe that the Sialk people played the role of an evolutionary stepping stone for the emergence of later Iranian civilizations, such as Elam, the Medes, or ancient Persia. Certain artistic motifs, construction techniques, metallurgy, and social organization models from Sialk later reappeared in major centers like Susa and Persepolis, proving the Sialk people's broad but subtle influence on the region's history. Tepe Sialk is a place where the question, "Who were the Sialk people?" has become a symbol for hundreds of other unsolved mysteries. It's not just curiosity about the origins of its inhabitants, whether they truly invented their own writing system and what language they used, or the story of where they came from and where they disappeared to after Sialk's decline. The true role of mysterious rituals, the strange artifacts found in the tombs, and how these communities were able to construct monumental structures and develop advanced metallurgical techniques while much of the world was still in its infancy, all remain questions without clear answers. For this reason, archaeologists, historians, linguists, geneticists, and others continue to delve into Tepe Sialk, hoping to find DNA, evidence, inscriptions, or any crucial clue that might finally unveil the true identity of one of the most enigmatic peoples in ancient history. Tepe Sialk is not only an important archaeological site, but is also intertwined with mysterious legends in the local collective memory. Local people often tell stories that this place was once inhabited by giant sorcerers or great bearers of knowledge, all of whom have been buried beneath the earth of the Sialk mound over time. Some tales even mention a secret chamber deep underground believed to contain all the knowledge of ancient humanity, sealed away and waiting for the day when humankind becomes wise enough to open it and uncover the secrets that the past has left behind. Tepe Sialk is like a mirror, reflecting the images of those who created, thrived, struggled, and vanished, leaving behind faint but immortal traces. Who were they? What language did they speak? What were their beliefs, dreams, fears, survival secrets? Until those secrets are finally revealed, Tepe Sialk will remain a whisper from the past forever, challenging the curiosity of future generations. On the southeastern edge of the Arabian Peninsula, where desert sands meet the blue sea, lie scattered ancient stone tombs dating back over 4,000 years. These are the silent witnesses of the an-Nar civilization, one of the greatest enigmas of Middle Eastern archaeology, especially renowned for their massive collective circular tombs that contain hundreds of skeletons and countless mysterious artifacts from across the ancient world. Above all, the an-Nar tombs astound scientists with their construction techniques, a kind of prehistoric technology that archaeologists have yet to fully unravel. What do you find most mysterious about the an-Nar tombs? If you could explore one thing about this lost civilization, what would it be? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The an-Nar civilization, circa 2600 to 2000 BCE, flourished in what is now the United Arab Emirates and northern Oman. Contrary to common beliefs about a primitive semi-nomadic society, an-Nar demonstrated advanced social organization, far-reaching trade, and above all, a unique stone tomb architecture unparalleled in world history. These circular stone tombs, known as an-Nar tombs, became a timeless symbol of the civilization's development while leaving behind countless mysteries regarding their construction rituals and the true origins of their builders. The an-Nar tombs typically measure from 6 to 12 meters in diameter, with some reaching up to 14 meters, far larger than any contemporary collective tombs in the Arabian Peninsula. Each tomb is built entirely of stone, with massive stone slabs stacked and fitted together meticulously without mortar, forming solid thick walls that can sometimes be up to 4 meters high. The tombs are usually domed or flat-roofed, depending on the location, with central stones locking the entire structure in place. Remarkably, despite being over 4,000 years old, many tombs remain almost perfectly intact in shape and structure, defying the harsh climate. Inside, the space is divided into numerous small chambers or corridors for collective burial. Some tombs contain up to hundreds of skeletons arranged in layers, each body placed neatly according to strict rules. Each tomb usually has only one entrance, small and low, with most aligned to a fixed direction, possibly linked to sun rituals, rebirth, or ancient astronomy. What makes the an-Nar tombs truly special is not only their massive scale, but also their construction technology, which was far ahead of its time. The enormous sandstone and limestone blocks, each weighing several tons, were joined together by ancient builders with astonishing precision without the use of any mortar or binding agent. Upon close inspection, you can see that the stones were cut and fitted so tightly that the surfaces touch perfectly, with the edges often ground and finely adjusted, a skill that would not be developed by major civilizations until many centuries later. Archaeologists have also discovered that at many joints between the stones, natural locking ridges or protrusions were cleverly used as a kind of interlocking key, helping the tomb walls remain stable against natural disasters, sandstorms, and the passage of time. Because of this, many theories have arisen. How could the people of an-Nar, using only primitive tools, have transported and precisely assembled such massive stones? Did they possess some special technique or tool that humanity has since forgotten? Up to now, the artifacts found around the tombs consist only of stone axes, small copper chisels, or other basic stone-working tools. This raises a major question. How could people in ancient times quarry and transport multi-ton stone blocks from quarries, move them over several kilometers to the construction site, then lift and precisely assemble them into perfect circular structures? Some theories suggest that they might have used wooden rollers, scaffolding, or coordinated hundreds of people in construction rituals that lasted for years. However, archaeologists have never found clear traces of wheels or pulleys from this era. Remarkably, some chemical studies have revealed that the surfaces of an-Nar stones show signs of thermal treatment. Perhaps the ancients knew how to heat and then cool the stone to split it more easily, or they used natural compounds to create a kind of ultra-light biological cement that is nearly invisible to the naked eye. In addition, the design of the tombs was optimized to withstand the harsh desert climate. The arrangement of massive stone slabs to form thick walls helps maintain a stable temperature inside, avoiding the extreme difference between day and night. The thick stone domed or flat roofs not only protect the burial space from sand and rain, but also prevent erosion over thousands of years. Especially notable is that the exterior stone surfaces were often decorated with carved patterns or polished, not only enhancing aesthetics, but also reflecting solar radiation and reducing heat absorption. The durability of the tombs is another aspect that amazes researchers. Despite enduring many large and small earthquakes, the an-Nar structures have stood firm over time. Modern analysis shows that the round design and multi-layered thick walls are extremely effective at dissipating force. The large stones are staggered at each level, forming load-bearing belts similar to earthquake-resistant techniques in modern architecture. Furthermore, the dry desert climate and the careful selection of high, well-drained locations have also contributed to the preservation of these tombs for millennia. Beyond the technical aspects, the an-Nar tombs also showcase impressive artistic and spiritual understanding. Many tombs are elaborately decorated with geometric motifs, animals, suns, and waves carved directly into the stone. Even the small tomb entrances are meticulously crafted with stone borders, and at times are precisely aligned with astronomical directions, such as toward the sunrise or sunset on the solstice, demonstrating the an-Nar people's deep knowledge of ancient astronomy. Many of the architectural and construction techniques found in an-Nar tombs later appeared in other stone monuments across Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and even further into the Arabian Peninsula and Iran. This proves the significant influence that an-Nar civilization had in terms of technology, art, and religious practices on later generations, even though the civilization itself mysteriously disappeared. Many great mysteries still surround the an-Nar tombs, leaving researchers constantly pondering. The discovery of hundreds of skeletons buried collectively in a single tomb demonstrates that society at that time was highly organized, but it also raises major questions. Was this the result of tragic events, such as epidemics, wars, or famines, or simply a long-standing tradition of ancestor worship spanning many generations? In addition, inside the tombs, archaeologists have found countless artifacts originating from distant civilizations, such as Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and even Central Asia, including jewelry made of precious stones, copper beads, and pottery. All of these finds indicate that an-Nar was once an important link in the ancient trade network connecting East and West. However, the reason why a community living in the desert could wield such broad commercial influence remains unexplained. One of the greatest mysteries is the sudden collapse of this civilization around 2,000 years before the Common Era. The stone tombs were abandoned with no traces of new burials, and society completely disintegrated. Some theories suggest that climate change, depleted water sources, or conflicts with other groups contributed to the downfall of an-Nar, but so far, no truly convincing evidence has been found. Especially notable is that some human skeletons in these tombs exhibit unusual characteristics in terms of age, skull shape, or marks of ritual surgeries such as bone cutting, trepanation, or even the use of preservation chemicals. These findings lead scientists to suspect the existence of special rituals or primitive mummification practices previously unknown in the Arabian Peninsula. The and-Nar tombs are a unique archaeological heritage, serving as proof of prehistoric human creativity and advanced engineering. The mysteries of their architecture rituals and the disappearance of this civilization continue to fascinate researchers. Today, excavations are still ongoing, in hopes of uncovering hidden secrets, reminding us of humanity's ability to overcome challenges and leave a lasting mark on history. When talking about the greatest and most mysterious archaeological heritages of South America, most people immediately think of names like Machu Picchu of the Incas or the majestic stone statues of San Agustin in Colombia. However, hidden among the lush green mountains of the Cauca region, Colombia lies a colossal necropolis called Tierradentro, a place that guards hundreds of underground tombs with architecture, art, and symbolism that far surpass ordinary understanding, especially regarding the origins of the people who built them. Who were they? Why did they create such a unique complex only to completely vanish, leaving behind for future generations a mysterious underground maze that science has yet to unravel? Who do you think built the mysterious tombs of Tierradentro? Share your thoughts about the true origins of Tierradentro in the comments below. Tierradentro means inside the earth, and true to its name, the most distinctive feature of this site is the hundreds of underground tombs, hypogea, carved deep into volcanic mountain rock. These hypogea date from about the 6th to the 9th century AD, each an incredible architectural feat. Some of the largest have diameters over 7 meters, descend up to 9 meters below ground level, with spiral staircases leading down into a shadowy space where the walls are densely covered in patterns, human figures, and mysterious red, black and white symbols. The mere act of excavating hard volcanic rock using ancient tools to create these spacious, flat-walled, evenly spaced, columned structures is enough to astonish archaeologists. Yet they were further decorated as elaborately as real temples. It's no wonder that Tierradentro is often compared to Colombia's Valley of the Kings. Stepping inside a Tierradentro hypogeum is like entering a completely different world, where art and symbolism fill every corner. The walls and ceilings of the tombs are densely painted with geometric shapes, spirals, animal motifs, birds, snakes, and especially countless mask-like human faces with large eyes and closed mouths that are haunting. Researchers have found that many of these motifs do not match any indigenous art styles in the region, and some even resemble the cultures thousands of kilometers away, such as San Agustin or even Chavin in Peru. Could there have been a vast network of cultural exchange in ancient South America? Or was Tierradentro itself the center of an independent civilization with its own beliefs, values, and religion which flourished and then vanished as if it had never existed? Strangely, these motifs are highly systematic, perhaps containing knowledge or messages, though we still cannot decode them. Are they about ancestor worship or soul initiation rituals? Are they connected to myths of rebirth or reincarnation? Some theories propose that the recurring spiral, a symbol found throughout the ancient world, may be a message about cosmic cycles, life and death, or even a code for astronomical knowledge. And this is the central question, the mystery enveloping all of Tierradentro, making it the black box of South American archaeology. Who created this monument? They were not the Inca, nor the Muisca, nor any other famous indigenous peoples of Colombia. All that later generations have found are scattered remains, some ceramic stone, and gold artifacts, and faint traces of habitation around the tombs, but not a single written record, not a village temple or city that directly links to these tombs. This absolute absence of a cultural footprint means that archaeologists cannot determine for certain which group the Tierradentro people belong to, where they came from, what language they spoke, or even their real name. The only traces left are the paintings' human faces and decorated ceramics in styles not consistent with any neighboring cultures. Some gold artifacts bear patterns similar to those of the Tirona people of the coast, but the geography is too distant for simple cultural diffusion. Some bold scholars even theorize a lost people who once controlled a vast mountainous region possessing advanced knowledge of construction art and religion rivaling the civilizations of the Andes, but who for some reason disappeared without a trace. The deeper archaeologists dig, the more baffling it becomes. Newly discovered tombs differ in style, possibly indicating multiple community layers and generations, but who were they? Why did they disappear, and where are the answers? Some even call this a phantom civilization of Colombia. Another mysterious aspect is the orientation and positioning of the tombs. Some experts have found that their layout is not random, but follows rules relating to the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Did the Tierradentro people possess sophisticated astronomical knowledge to align the tombs as soul portals at key moments of the cosmos, or are the recurring motifs on the walls actually star maps encoded in geometric language? To this day, these theories remain unproven. But the fact that ancient cultures from Egypt, Peru, Stonehenge to Southeast Asia built monuments connected to astronomy suggests this is a line of research that cannot be ignored. Perhaps the most tragic and mysterious thing about Tierradentro is that this civilization disappeared entirely from history. After the 9th to 10th centuries, there is no trace of any large community living here. There are no oral epics, and no people claim to be descendants of the hypogea builders. The local indigenous groups today, like the Paez Nasa, have their own legends about this sacred land, but also do not claim any connection. They only tell of ancient people who built these grand tombs and then disappeared in a great cataclysm, plague, war, natural disaster, or forced migration. All is still shrouded in mystery. This makes the question of the builders' origins even harder to answer. A civilization advanced enough to create such impressive sites, leaving art that transcends time, but then is erased with no descendants. Where did they go? Were they assimilated, destroyed, or do their descendants still exist but have lost the memory of their ancestors? The mystery surrounding the builders of Tierradentro has given rise to countless theories debated by researchers for decades. Some suggest that Tierradentro was once the center of a distinct civilization which controlled a vast territory but collapsed due to climate changes, epidemics, or conflicts with other groups, leaving Tierradentro as the last remaining vestige. Other scholars have noticed similarities between the motifs and art found at Tierradentro and those appearing in Central America, the Andes, and even Polynesia. This has led to theories about transcontinental cultural exchanges and ancient migration routes that may have crossed great mountain ranges and rivers of South America. However, to this day, there is still no archaeological evidence strong enough to confirm these ideas. Additionally, because this land is closely associated with many spiritual legends and a sense of reverence among local people, there is a reluctance to disturb the tombs. As a result, information about the builders has gradually faded, and no one dares to pass on the historical memory. In fact, many modern archaeologists believe that dozens of hypogea have yet to be excavated, and future discoveries could completely transform our understanding of this region's history. To this day, Tierradentro remains one of the greatest mysteries of South America. Who created these magnificent tombs? Why did they build them so elaborately, yet leave no clear settlement system? Why did their entire civilization vanish without a trace? No descendants, no real legends. Are there more secrets sleeping underground, waiting for the future to uncover? Today, even though Tierradentro has been recognized by UNESCO, it still retains its mysterious aura, attracting both archaeologists and travelers alike. Descending the steps of the hypogea and touching the ancient walls with their haunting human faces, everyone can sense the whispers of the past and the secrets yet to be unraveled. Perhaps it is this very silence, the absence of writing cities and descendants, that is Tierradentro's strongest message to future generations. Not every civilization needs to be recorded, for some mysteries can only be felt with the heart and with respect for history. Some civilizations once shone brilliantly and then vanished, leaving behind not only legends, but also relics that bewilder and astonish future generations. In the barren desert of northern Sudan, where winds and shifting sands have erased the traces of countless ancient kingdoms, Kerma Defufa still stands firm, a silent witness to an age-old history. Unlike the magnificent stone pyramids of Egypt or the lavishly adorned temples of the ancients, Defufa possesses a solemn, unyielding, and enigmatic presence, a colossal mass of mud brick, brooding through 4 millennia, challenging the ravages of time and even the modern archaeological world. Defufa, meaning Great Mound in the Nubian language, is not only a monumental structure, but also a symbol of the resilience, ingenuity, and mystery of the Kerma civilization. From around 2400 to 1500 BC-CE, the Kingdom of Kerma once stood as a powerful rival to ancient Egypt. Yet today, all that remains is the ruin of Defufa, a primeval fortress holding secrets that have never been revealed. What do you think is the greatest secret still hidden within Kerma Defufa? Or do you believe there are other lost wonders in the desert waiting to be discovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Kerma Defufa is by no means a small structure, nearly 19 meters high, more than 50 meters long, and with walls up to 6 or 7 meters thick. At the foundation, it resembles a lonely fortress amid a sea of sand. The entire structure is built from sun-dried mud brick, a material seemingly fragile and prone to collapse in desert storms. But in reality, it has remained solid for over 4,000 years. Defufa's architecture consists of multiple stacked levels, with a system of underground rooms, winding corridors, secret stairways, connecting floors, and strange ventilation holes within the thick walls. If you venture inside, you'll be amazed by the interwoven large and small spaces, mysterious wall recesses, and narrow passageways leading to sealed maze-like chambers, making explorers feel lost inside a miniature city built of clay. Scholars initially believed Defufa to be a temple dedicated to deities or a grand ceremonial center of the Kerma people. Yet the more they excavate, the more contradictory theories arise. Some think it was a royal palace, the site of grand audiences, or even propose astronomical or calendrical functions, since some rooms are specially illuminated at certain times of the year. Whatever its original purpose, Defufa was clearly more than an ordinary residence or temple. Its complex structure, stacked spaces, hidden recesses, closed corridors, and limited entryways suggest that special rituals, religious practices, or political activities once took place inside, relating to the supreme power of the Kerma king and connections to deities or ancestors. What truly sets Kerma Defufa apart are the mysteries surrounding its construction techniques, mysteries that modern science still cannot fully unravel. Instead of using massive stone blocks like the ancient Egyptians, the people of Kerma chose mud brick, a material that would seem fragile and easily destroyed by harsh weather. Yet millions of mud bricks, each weighing between 10 and 15 kilograms, were mixed from Nile silt dry straw and water, then sun-dried in the desert, allowing the structure to endure for millennia. These bricks were not only stacked layer upon layer, but also bonded by a special natural mortar whose precise chemical composition remains unknown to this day. This mysterious combination is what kept them firmly intact, resisting disintegration despite thousands of years of rain floods and intense heat. Some experts believe the secret lies in the selection of rich clay, a precise recipe for mixing and drying, and the use of waterproofing compounds from tree resin ash or other organic materials. Especially notable is how the brick layers were arranged in spiral interlocking patterns, greatly increasing their structural strength compared to ordinary building methods. Furthermore, the foundation of Defufa itself stands as a remarkable achievement. Radar surveys reveal an extremely thick and solid base, with tightly packed mud brick, interspersed with river pebbles, gravel, and multiple layers of sand to distribute weight and pressure. As a result, the entire structure never subsided and could even withstand minor tremors from earthquakes or floods, a rare feature among ancient buildings of its era. Modern engineers who have attempted to replicate this foundation are amazed. Even with only primitive tools, the people of Kerma ensured the stability of this monumental structure for 40 centuries without the need for modern waterproofing chemicals. The walls of Defufa, measuring up to 6 or 7 meters thick, not only provide structural support, but are also ingeniously designed with hidden ventilation shafts. As sunlight beats down, hot air is vented out through small openings, keeping the interior cool even when desert temperatures outside can reach 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. This system also helps prevent mold and protects the brick layers from damage, significantly extending the building's lifespan. Some enclosed chambers have small doors and gently sloping floors toward the center, suggesting the Kerma people understood how to create natural air circulation to cool the space when large groups gathered for rituals. The sheer scale of Defufa's construction also poses a major question. To complete this monument, the Kerma people would have needed to mobilize hundreds of skilled craftsmen, thousands of laborers, and sustain continuous construction for decades. Yet archaeologists have never found any evidence of specialized tools or written records detailing their methods. How did they transport and raise millions of mud bricks to such heights without pulleys, metal scaffolding cranes, or even proper wheels? Some theories propose they used long earth ramps, sledges, human and animal labor, and some mysterious adhesive to set the bricks in place at higher levels. However, to this day, no modern experiment has successfully replicated Defufa's scale speed and enduring strength. Above all, Defufa is a masterpiece of hidden artistry. Unlike the dazzling pyramids of Egypt, Defufa's exterior is simply a brooding mass of reddish-brown mud brick, with no ornate decorations or vivid colors, standing alone amidst the barren yellow sands. Yet within some inner chambers lie traces of rare blue paint, wave-like motifs and depictions of the moon and stars, all kept secret, reserved only for the elite or high priests conducting the most sacred rituals. Around Defufa are strange cemeteries, thousands of large and small graves, many burying dozens of people at once, possibly for sacrifice, royal retinue, or members of special ceremonies. Some graves contain intertwined human and animal skeletons in odd postures, raising questions about rituals, beliefs, or even bloody mysteries of Kerma's power. Many graves yielded gold, copper gems, small divine statues, weapons, jewelry. Some bear Egyptian cultural marks, reflecting the complexity and openness of ancient Kerma society. Kerma was once the capital of the Nubian kingdom, confronting Egypt for nearly 1,000 years. At its peak, Kerma controlled trade routes of gold and ivory and was a major trading partner of Egypt, even defeating pharaohs and occupying part of Lower Egypt. Defufa is seen as the heart of power in Kerma, the ceremonial center, a symbol uniting politics, religion, and military, but also the site marking the civilization's decline after Egyptian conquest. To this day, many fundamental questions about Kerma Defufa remain unanswered. Why did the people of Kerma choose mud brick, a material that seems fragile instead of solid stone, to build such a monumental structure? What were the precise formulas and techniques they used to produce and preserve bricks that have endured for thousands of years? How did they manage to transport, assemble, organize labor plan, and oversee such a massive construction project, especially when no written records have survived? And why did Defufa conceal all traces of decoration and artistry inside rather than displaying them outwardly, as was common with Egyptian or Mesopotamian monuments? All of these unresolved mysteries have made Kerma Defufa one of the most enigmatic structures of ancient Africa, a monument that continues to challenge even modern science. Today, Defufa still stands tall in the desert, a testament to a once great civilization and its unresolved mysteries. As time passes, every mud brick here continues to evoke the intelligence, resilience, and aspirations of ancient people. It may be a long time before modern science fully unravels the secrets of Kerma Defufa, but it is precisely this mystery that has turned the monument into a fortress of secrets that humanity will always long to explore. Not every great mystery of humanity lies buried beneath the dust of time. Some enigmas stand tall beneath the open sky, as if challenging generations to come. In the highlands of central Mexico, amidst the ruins of the ancient city of Xochicalco, there exists a sky well whose true meanings and functions remain elusive to scientists even today. Carved deep into solid rock thousands of years ago, the Xochicalco observatory shaft is not only a marvel of engineering, but also a crossroads where astronomy's sacred rituals and the power of knowledge converge. Who created this structure? Why did they choose such a unique design? And what drove the ancients to pursue absolute precision in capturing the light of the cosmos? These questions still linger today, hovering between the faint sunlight that filters through the mouth of the shaft and the eternal darkness at the depths of history. What do you think was the true purpose of the Xochicalco Observatory shaft? Share your theories or ideas in the comments below. Seen from the outside, the Xochicalco Observatory shaft looks no different from a small stone well, but once inside, all sense of normality quickly vanishes. It is a perfectly vertical shaft, about 8 to 10 meters deep, carved through solid limestone. At the top is a small opening, only about 1 to 2 meters in diameter, surrounded by layers of stacked stones, giving a sense of absolute solidity, yet also something ancient and primal. The well's bottom is not the end, but rather expands into a small stone chamber, completely dark, with the only exit being the vertical shaft above. If you stand at the bottom and look up, you see only a tiny circular hole against the sky, the sole path for sunlight to reach below. It is this piercing ray effect that creates an astronomical phenomenon, possessed by very few ancient structures in the world. What makes the Xochicalco Observatory shaft famous is not only its physical structure, but also the precision with which it captures sunlight. On 2 special days each year, when the sun is exactly at zenith for this latitude, usually around the 15th of May and the 29th of July, a brilliant shaft of light shines straight down through the well, illuminating the chamber below and turning it into a mystical room of light. This phenomenon lasts only a few brief minutes each year, and if you're not there at the right moment, you'll miss it completely. This demonstrates the ancient builders' astronomical calculations, measurements of the sun's inclination, geographic positioning, and construction techniques far surpassing what we would imagine. Even a minor error in the design would prevent the phenomenon from occurring. Yet over 1,000 years ago, the people of Xochicalco achieved what seems impossible. The greatest mystery surrounding the Xochicalco observatory shaft is the true purpose of this extraordinary structure. For nearly a century, countless researchers and scholars from Mexico, the United States, and Europe have visited, surveyed, and analyzed it, yet to this day, no one has been able to confidently state why it was originally built. The most common theory suggests that the Xochicalco observatory shaft was created for astronomical observation, particularly to precisely determine when the sun passes directly overhead, a phenomenon of immense importance to ancient Central American agricultural civilizations, as it marked critical points for sowing, harvesting, holding festivals, and even predicting a year of good rains. However, if its only purpose was to identify zenith days, why did the ancients go to such extraordinary lengths to construct a structure so deep and hazardous one that allows only a single ray of sunlight to enter on that specific day, when there were much simpler ways to track the sun, such as erecting stone columns or using traditional pyramids? This very question has opened up many different lines of reasoning about the true function of this astronomical shaft. Some scholars, however, believe that it was the peculiar design and extraordinary light effect that turned the site into a space for special religious rituals. In the worldview of ancient Central Americans, the sun was the supreme deity, the source of life, and the moment when a ray of sunlight descended through the shaft on Zenith Day was regarded as the time when the gods appeared in the human world. Perhaps only priests, shamans, or the elite were permitted access and could conduct sacred rituals in the stone chamber at the bottom of the shaft, where the sole beam of light pierced thick darkness, echoing with voices reverberating off the walls to create an atmosphere of indescribable reverence and mystery. Still others suggest that the Xochicalco observatory shaft was actually a secret school, a place where only chosen individuals were taught astronomy, calendrical science, and agricultural secrets. Controlling and safeguarding this knowledge did more than maintain power. It also created a class of priests and shamans with immense influence over the community, sometimes even commanding the people's absolute respect for their magical ability to predict the weather, solar and lunar eclipses. Some suggest it was used to store codes, records, or special astronomical objects, though to this day, no mysterious artifacts or inscriptions have been found. Only architectural traces remain. The mystery also lies in the advanced engineering and site selection involved. For the shaft to work with such precision, the ancient builders had to calculate not only geographic location, but also astronomical cycles that spanned decades or even centuries. Some theories propose that the site was also used to observe rare events like eclipses or special constellations, or to align other structures within the Xochicalco complex according to an ancient astronomical compass. Many modern experts, when reconstructing the data, have been astonished by the structure's pinpoint accuracy, something that could only have been achieved through generations of observation, documentation, and experimentation. Moreover, the echoing acoustics inside the shaft are another haunting element. When anyone speaks or makes a sound, it reverberates several times. making the space even more mysterious and seemingly cut off from the outside world. Perhaps this was an intentional architectural feature to increase the sense of sacredness for rituals, or it may simply be a byproduct of the design. All these factors further support the theory that the Xochicalco observatory shaft was not built for public use, but was a restricted place accessible only to those with power, knowledge, or special status. After more than a century of research, many theories have been proposed, but almost all remain in the realm of perhaps possibly or conjecture. Whether it was an observatory, a ritual center, a secret school, or even a kind of time machine to measure the cosmos, the Xochicalco observatory shaft stands as a monument to human curiosity and the desire to unravel mysteries. The wonder is that even with ever-advancing archaeological technology and AI capable of simulating light and acoustics, standing in the dark chamber at the bottom of the shaft, waiting for the single cosmic beam of light, is an experience only humans can truly feel. That is the soul of the structure, a connection between heaven and earth, past and present, human and universe. The Xochicalco observatory shaft is living proof of ancient Central Americans' observational skill, creativity, and ambition to master nature. Above all, it is a reminder of the limits of modern knowledge. No matter how far science advances, mysteries remain, skywells opening portals to the past, and perhaps to secrets never yet revealed.